All right, everybody. For those of you that are waiting for our web stream this afternoon, obviously we'll be getting going shortly. We anticipate about a 1:35 start to today's broadcast. That will be 1:35 Central Time, obviously 12:35 for those of you in the Mountain Time Zone today. So we anticipate about a 1:35 Central, 12:35 Mountain start to our broadcast here today. And just taking care of some sound check responsibilities here while we go ahead and give you the intro, and then we will end up taking our microphone dead so that we don't violate a copyright issue. And we'll be back and get ready to go with the broadcast coming up here in just a little bit. So we invite you to stay with us as we get ready for our stream here this afternoon.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text NDD to
Good afternoon, Viking fans. We welcome you back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse this afternoon, and it's round 4 of the week. We have had a busy first week of Viking athletics here on our web streams with newsdakota.com and also on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. But the Vikings have come home, and they've come home in a strong way after the Labor Day holiday. With 4 contests this week, this will be the 4th and wrap up a very busy week for the Vikings at home as they take on the Montana Tech Ore Diggers in another conference matchup inside the Frontier Conference for Viking volleyball. Ryan Cunningham with you here this afternoon. The Vikings have had an eventful volleyball week. They came up with a win in straight sets over Mayville State, winning 3-0 back on Wednesday. Last night, they ran into Montana Western, and they found out what going up against one of these big physical teams from the Frontier Conference is going to look like. And for a while, it looked okay for the Vikings. They got down early in the opening set, came back, made a set of the first, won the second, and had a 13-9 lead in the third set. And at that point, you kind of felt like things were going in the right direction for Valley City State. But a timeout was taken at that point by Montana Western. The Vikings never really had a chance to slow down Montana Western after that, as Western goes on for a win in that third set, 25-17. They come back to win the fourth, 25-20, and send the Vikings to their first conference loss of the season. And now Montana Tech, the Ore Diggers, will make their way into the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. And this is a team that's made its way up the ladder when it comes down to the national rankings. So this will be a tough test, and as far as conference play goes, perhaps the toughest test to date for Valley City State. It was an eventful night last night in the Frontier Conference, and coming up on our pregame report presented by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good, we're going to look through those scores. They included one big upset last night, and perhaps a team finding its way back on solid footing in the Frontier after a couple of years of some volleyball that has struggled. Dickinson State looks to be back after a big 3-2 win last night over a top 25 team in the conference, and we'll run you through that scoreboard and take a look at the updated standings that we have coming into today. For those of you that weren't with us on the radio side yesterday, we had a chance to catch up with Michelle Mickeljohn, the head coach of the Vikings, yesterday before yesterday's matchup with Montana Western. We'll bring you part 1 of that conversation in the pregame report today, which is applicable to her team and what they had seen coming out of Mayville State. And some of the Montana Western information won't directly apply to Montana Tech. Some of it still will. This is a big physical volleyball team that's coming into the Fieldhouse again today. Lots of 6'1", 6'2", 6 feet on the roster, and that was a big part of what Montana Western brought here yesterday, and a lot of blocking potential on that Montana Tech side of the net today as well. So we'll go through those comments with Michelle Mickeljohn and tell you about some Vikings to watch. Today we're going to talk about some Vikings to watch that will need to step up and produce a couple of additional weapons for the Vikings to have some success in today's matchup against Montana Tech. And our starting lineups in volleyball were scheduled for a 2 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock Mountain Time first serve today. We'll also run you through what's coming up next for the Vikings, as they've got a big road trip coming up next week that will take them to Montana for a solid week. And of course, the Viking football team getting ready to get on a plane, not next week, but the week after, as this new normal of being in the Frontier Conference begins to set in here at Valley City State. But it's been a very fun week, and we're looking to finish it off the right way here today at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. It's Valley City State and Montana Tech, the Ore Diggers and the Vikings this afternoon here on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, with our coverage at newsdakota.com. Our pregame report this afternoon is brought to you again by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good. And we'll come back with part 1 of our conversation with Michelle Mickeljohn, which will be the lone part, and a look at what happened last night, along with the conference standings that are up to date for today in our drive for the title lookout as we continue our coverage of Viking volleyball next. Stay with us here on KOVC and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a 2-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball today on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and at newsdakota.com, along with radio coverage today on the Voice of the Valley and the Voice of the Vikings, KOVC. Last night away from our radio coverage as the Highlanders came to town for their home football opener of the season, and rather not opener of the season, but their conference opener or regional opener. Congratulations to the Highlanders on a big win last night over Sargent County at home, pitching a shutout, putting up 30+ and getting the win, and they get ready to go on down to Lisbon coming up next. That'll be, I guess, I'm not sure if they're going to play for the Volunteer Trophy as they used to. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, back in the day when the Vikings and Lisbon Broncos played each other on the regular, they had come up with a traveling trophy to honor those that had fought flooding on the Cheyenne River for many years. And the Cheyenne River is a river that plays prominently in both communities, Valley City and Lisbon. And so they called the event the Sandbag Bowl, and they played for the Volunteer Trophy. And of course that went away for a while because they were in different classes in different regions, but now they're back. And I'm kind of hopeful that they'll reinstitute the Sandbag Bowl and the Volunteer Trophy matchup. It would be kind of fun to see that come out of retirement now that those two teams will probably be playing each other for a while. But we'll get to that coming up next week. Today, Montana Tech, the Ore Diggers, the 21st ranked team in the country, comes to town to take on Valley City State after the Vikings came up short last night in their matchup with Montana Western and the Bulldogs. Well, we had one big upset last night, and so we'll talk about that as we take a look at our conference standings that we have for today. Here are the latest standings in the Frontier Conference. Our pregame report tonight brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. Here for all and here for good. In your updated conference standings, Dickinson State stands alone on top of the conference pack, the only team with 2 wins in the league at this point. Now, part of that is scheduling. They've played a couple. They've won a couple. Everyone else that's played 2 has either split or lost them both. And there are a host of teams that played their first games of the conference season last night. But more on that Dickinson State University win coming up here in a couple of moments. We do see that the University of Providence, Bellevue, Montana Tech, and Montana Western, along with Montana Northern, all coming up with wins to get started in conference play last night. Carroll College, Valley City State coming into the day each 1-1 as far as the league. Dakota State 0-1, Bismarck State 0-2, Mayville State, Rocky Mountain also 0-2. So right now you see a host of pretty good teams. University of Providence ranked 5th, Bellevue's ranked 3rd, Montana Tech ranked 21st. They're all sitting at 1-0 in the conference. Montana State Northern got a win last night, I believe, over Rocky Mountain. We'll look at those scores next. Montana Western, Carroll, Valley City State all getting votes. You've got 7 teams in the league that are getting national recognition, but maybe another one to come, and maybe one that's going to drop out. And the reason why we say that is because when you take a look at last night's standings, there was one big upset. Those of you on the video side, you'll see it right in the middle of your screen. Number 24, Dakota State, goes down at the hands of Dickinson State last night by a score of 3-2. And Dickinson State a couple of years ago was a volleyball team that was really struggling It was a lot of very short nights against Dickinson State. They were struggling to compete against even mid and bottom level competition in the North Star Athletic Association. They've recommitted, and that's one of the biggest wins for the Blue Hawks in quite some time when it comes down to volleyball, to take on the 24th ranked team in the country. The other part of that matchup, it was a bit peculiar last year when Dakota State started rocketing up the standings. And we know when we talk about the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, the closer you are to the center of the country, it seems like the better representation you get when it comes down to polling. And so last year when Danielle Hagler suffered her knee injury at the hands of the University of Jamestown, boy, the Vikings really dropped off as their record dropped off, even though they were probably better than advertised. And Dakota State came rocketing back, and the Vikings very nearly got Dakota State in the conference tournament without one of their best players by the time the season came to an end. So I wondered when I saw Dakota State reach number 24, okay, let's put that number 24 ranking to the test. And last night they were beaten by Dickinson State, and that will raise some eyebrows. Bellevue University, top-ranked team in our league. No problems with Bismarck State last night. Montana Tech whitewashed Mayville last night 3-0. Montana Western here with a 3-1 win over Valley City State. Montana State Northern topped Rocky Mountain 3-1. And Providence, the fifth-ranked team in the country, defeated Carroll, who's getting votes by a score of 3-1. And so that takes us back to the conference standings that we have for today. But you can see that Providence, Bellevue, Montana Tech, impressive wins last night. Providence gives up a set against a team receiving votes, and Bellevue and Montana Tech each get sweeps, and they will stand right there behind Dickinson State, who's currently 2-0 in the conference standings after their big upset win last night over Dakota State University. That's a look at what we have for Drive for the Title, and a look inside the Frontier Conference today as we continue along with our coverage of our pregame report, brought to you by Sanford Health, Valley City, here for all and here for good. Up next, you'll hear from Michelle Micklejohn, part one of our conversation this week about her volleyball team coming out of the Mayville State University win. And for those of you that missed it on the radio side yesterday, talk about some of the positives we saw against the Comets back on Wednesday night, hoping to build on those today against Montana Tech. It's the Ore Diggers and the Vikings, Montana Tech at Valley City State today. We continue with our pregame report next on KOVC, the voice of the Valley, along with the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. We're back with more next.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Looking for a quality, affordable education to get you the career you want? Strengthen your resume with a degree from Valley City State University. From education to business, fisheries and wildlife to software engineering. We have it all. Learn more about becoming a Viking today.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula, 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball, the voice of the Vikings, the voice of the Valley, KOVC, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel for video coverage. For those of you that are out there on Radioland, want to take it in via video, a couple of ways to find it. You can go to newsdakota.com, look underneath the sports tab and find the sports schedule. And when you see the sports schedule, you'll find links to both video and audio coverage of today's event. Click on that link, and take it in. You can also search VCSU Athletics on YouTube, and you'll be able to find the broadcast via our YouTube channel throughout the course of our day today. Valley City State takes on the 21st ranked team in the country in Montana Tech. It's the Ore Diggers and the Vikings. Our pregame report continues, brought to you today by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good. We had the opportunity to catch up with Michelle Micklejohn, the head coach of the Vikings, after their impressive win over Mayville State University on Wednesday. Now, part two of that conversation not applicable for today. We were talking about yesterday's opponent, Montana Western. But part one, the checkup from the neck up, if you will, on where the program was after the win over Mayville State. Still very much applicable. Let's get the words of Viking head coach Michelle Micklejohn talking about that performance on Wednesday. And she started commenting about how the hitters in the middle finally had a chance to see the volleyball on a regular basis.
They were seeing the block, they hit around it. Sometimes I think as hitters we get a little afraid of the hands that we see, but we've just been really trying to get more comfortable with seeing it and trying to use it and go around it. And so, I think they did a great job offensively, but I mean, our passing and defense was also, really consistent. So that really helps too.
When you took a look at the final numbers of that matchup with Mayville State, the numbers themselves weren't really all that impressive because they weren't big. And yet, in the long run, when you take a look at a volleyball match, that's the best match, right? It shows that you really were dominant. You didn't have a ton of anything out there, except for the fact that really Gracie Schumacher had a really nice night setting the volleyball. I thought she stood out when it came down to the final box score in that one.
Yeah, she is so composed and she's such a good leader. I think that really helps in her game on the court, and I'm just super proud of her. She did a really nice job, and I know she focuses on her serving a little bit, and she doesn't like when she makes errors. She doesn't like when she makes setting errors either, but she's done a really nice job as far as the leadership, and it's really showing in her setting too, so that's really good to see.
Coach, take us through the game a little bit. You know, you wanted to establish your middles, and we understand that, but in order to do that, sometimes you do have to show a team that you're going to be able to get something done in other places. And early, Macy Fridgen was really solid from the outside, and then Emma Lucas set a nice little right pin spot for you too. When you have success on the edges early, does that help even more the middle game be able to come to life and find some openings that might not be there if you don't hit from the pins really well?
Absolutely. That is also crucial. Anyone can get set and there's always holes and things, but like when you establish your pins absolutely at the beginning, and they're scoring or sending the other team out of system, it does open things up in the middle because the blockers don't know who to stay with. And I think our setters do a nice job of trying to read the blockers too, and getting our hitters a one-on-one or a hole, I think, but also the hitters executing, and Macy does a really nice job. She has a really fast arm swing, and both her and Emma, I would say Ellie too, they're all versatile volleyball players. They can hit on the outside, they can hit on the right side. So I think them being threats in both out of serve receive and out of system and things like that is really taken our offense to a new level. So I love to see that. Macy's actually played all three positions in the middle, on the outside, and on the right side. So it's just really fun to see all of them really confident and executing in those situations. So, yeah.
One of the things I noticed against Mayville State on Wednesday night from your team, J.C. Richter has always been a really, really good libero as far as chasing down a ball and extending a rally. She's been good at that, but I thought I noticed that maybe her passing game has stepped up a bit. There were plays when she was receiving serve and she put the ball right where it needed to be, and I guess that's something that's probably overlooked a little bit in a libero. When they're wearing that other colored jersey, we sort of expect them to be the fly around, dive, make defensive plays. You're better when J.C. Richter passes extremely well, and she seems to be doing that right now.
Yeah, she's built her confidence. And I'll credit my assistant Jaden. She's kind of our defensive and serve receive brains. She's brilliant, and she gives them all the good feedback and all the tips on how to be a better passer. And I think JC, she did really well. Usually the libero gets served to that much. but she did, and she executed, and she has done a really nice job. I think Delaney Clark has really stepped up in her passing too. And then our other freshman who plays defense for us, I'm seeing really good things out of Annika, and I'm just super proud of all of them. But I would give all the props to Jaden Wilson. She is the brains behind our defense and our passing. And I don't know what she tells them. I do know what she tells them, but I just don't have to worry about it, and it's awesome. And yeah, they're doing a really nice job back there on service eve.
Most of those things didn't fall apart last night for the Vikings. What did, though, was the hitting percentage, because Montana Western started digging everything up in the back row, and that takes us to our Vikings to watch that we have for today. And you can see on your screen there's going to be a couple of pins that we're going to highlight today that the Vikings are going to have to get some success from. Ellie Lucas and Rosie Anderson are a couple of Vikings we'll feature on the edges of the Viking offense today. Ellie Lucas has good numbers overall with 47 kills this season. The hitting percentage 111. She did not have a great night last night just getting balls to the floor. It's not that she had bad swings. It's not that she was out of position. That Montana Western defense was just stifling in the back row. And so when you have that situation, Rosie Anderson as well, she factored into the blocking game rather well last night in a couple of opportunities, but didn't have great chances to swing. 36 kills, but a hitting percentage that's under 100 right now. They're going to have to find different places to go with the volleyball or find a different way to get after it, just for the fact that last night the back row for Montana Western had everybody timed up pretty well. Danielle Hegler had some success, and a lot of success for Macy Frigin, but the Vikings are going to need a little bit more success from the pins in order to try to beat teams like Montana Western and, of course, what's coming in today, Montana Tech. And then Madden Bogenreef, she had a really nice night setting last night. Ends up with 125 assists on the season, but really turned in a nice match last night for Valley City State in a 4-set affair. And right now the Vikings with that 6-2 lineup, we featured Gracie Schumacher a couple of times, and for obvious reasons she's a leader back there, but freshman Madden Bogenreef is learning the game rather quickly, and the Vikings have a solid number 2 setter going through that back row. Those are some of the Vikings to watch coming into tonight's matchup. Well, that'll do it for our pregame report tonight, brought to you by Sanford Health Valley City. When we come back, it's our starting lineups and the opening serve for today's affair as Montana Tech and Valley City State come onto the floor here today to get ready for a really solid performance to wrap up what's been a fantastic week of Viking athletics, both at Dakota Bank Field and Locken Stadium, and also here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. We're back with our starting lineups in volleyball in just a couple of moments. It's the Vikings and the Ore Diggers of Montana Tech. Here are the voice of the Vikings, the voice of the Valley, KOVC, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
National anthem performed here today at W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse, Valley City State University. Welcome to our coverage of Viking volleyball today here on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley KOVC and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Valley City State University welcomes all student athletes, officials, and spectators to today's contest. As a member of the NAI and the Frontier Conference, we're committed to the true spirit of competition and being champions of character, demonstrated through 5 core character values: respect, integrity, responsibility, servant leadership, and sportsmanship. And we ask everyone who attends throughout the course of the season to abide by those values and create a positive environment in which student athletes may compete, officials may work, and you may enjoy. The Frontier Conference wants to thank the following corporate partners for their continued financial support: BSN Sports and Nike, Cooper Tire and Tire-Rama, the D.A. Davidson Companies, Irk Hotels, First Interstate Bank, Billings Clinic and Logan Health, McDonald's of Great Falls, Northwestern Energy, Pepsi and the Harrington Bottling Company, Snap Mobile, Winwan Technologies, and the Montana Army National Guard. Uncommon is calling. And don't forget to download the Frontier Conference app in partnership with Snap Mobile. The app is free to download. Just search FC Sports in the App Store on Apple or Google Play for Android. Let's take a look at our starting lineups for today's matchup. First of all, for the visitors, the Montana Tech Ore Diggers this afternoon. Starting defensive specialist will be Brooklyn Hayes, a 5'5 sophomore from Tumwater, Washington. The setter is Riss Layton, a 6'2 junior from Eagle, Idaho. On the right side, Peyton Treadwell, 5'11 junior from Meridian, Idaho. The outside hitter, Talon Dodson, a 5'10 freshman from San Antonio, Texas. The middles, Abby Clark, a 5'11 grad student from Fort Benton, Montana. And Madison Beery, a 6'2 sophomore from Boise, Idaho. Brian Solomon is the head coach of Montana Tech Ore Digger Volleyball. For the Vikings, same starting lineup as yesterday. Starting defensive specialist Delaney Clark, a 5'5 senior from Bismarck, North Dakota. The starting setter will be Gracie Schumacher, a 5'5 junior, a 5'6 junior from Linton, North Dakota. The outside hitters, Emma Lucas, a 6-foot senior from Argosville, North Dakota. Macy Fridgen, a 6'1 senior from Bismarck, North Dakota. And Ellie Lucas, a 6-foot sophomore from Argosville, North Dakota. And in the middle, Morgan Freegee, 5'11 senior from Edmore, North Dakota. Michelle Micklejohn is the head coach of the Vikings, assisted by Jaden Wilson. And that'll do it for our pregame report this afternoon, brought to you today by Sanford Health Valley City, here for all and here for good. You take a look through the numbers for Montana Tech. One of the things that jumps off is proficiency. Abby Clark, only 31 kills this year, hitting .464. Kennedy Wilmore, 79 kills this year, hitting .337. Madison Beery's hitting .338. Sophie Madsen off the bench is hitting .226, as was the case with Montana Western yesterday. This will be a deep Montana Tech Ore Digger team. They're going to have the opportunity to go to their bench and not really miss a beat when they start making substitutions. And when you've got that kind of opportunity offensively and there's no let up in your game, well, sometimes things get a little bit easier. They'll also run a 6-2 format, and we'll see a really, really solid libero, we expect, in Emmy Green. 118 digs on the season. And right now, Emmy Green, wearing green, is getting ready to check in for Montana Tech. Tech's in some white uniforms today with the burnt orange. They kind of look like University of Texas style uniforms. The Vikings are in their cardinal today, and libero J.C. Richter will be in cream. Montana Tech will serve. Riss Layton is the setter and ready to set. And we're about to be underway with Frontier Conference volleyball for the Vikings again today. Delaney Clark's pass ends up free balling over the net. Layton will set to the near side, powering through a touch. Talon Dodson from Montana Tech, and a play by Macy Fridgen from the outside that Green digs up. Second contact try by Montana Tech, run down by Delaney Clark. Fridgen through contact scores. 1-0 Valley City State. Solid rally to get things started. Vikings will make a switch, and this will bring Valley City State's Danielle Hagler into the front row. And back to serve will be Annika Pulju, a defensive substitution for the Vikings. So the Vikings, with a 1-0 advantage, will get ready to serve. Pulju's been a wonderful addition, a 5'7" freshman from Sabika, Minnesota. Green with the pass, long run for Riss Layton to get there. They go outside, hit long, and the point will go to the Vikings. They try to go to the outside, and on the floor for Montana Tech on that play was Peyton Treadwell. We did not expect to see, there she is, yeah, we had her on our sheet, just a numbers change. Peyton Treadwell, 200 hitter, 28 kills on the season. Serve coming in from Pulju, the Vikings up 2-0. They go to the right side this time, and Talon Dodson will put that one down. 60 kills on the year for Talon Dodson. The Vikings are led. Danielle Hagler, 55 kills. Macy Frigian, 78. Morgan Frigi, 51. Hagler hitting 366. Frigi, 234. Macy Frigian after last night, 186. After about a set and a half or 2 sets, Frigian was hitting near 400. And the hitting percentage really dropped off after the back row from Montana Western stood up and did what they did defensively. In the middle, Hagler, Riss Layton going to put this up into the seats. And a point for the Vikings out of the middle will make it 3-1 Valley City State. Pair of changes coming up for the Vikings. Enter Madden Bogenreef and Rosie Anderson, a couple of the players that we talked about the Vikings needing to get production from today. Bogenreef will go to the back row and take over the setting responsibilities, and Rosie Anderson steps up front. Bogenreef serving for the Vikings. Low line drive serve. Riss Layton from the attack line setting outside. The approach from Kennedy Wilmore ends up being errantly passed back towards the crowd. Point for Montana Tech. That'll make it 3-2. Ordiggers get back to within 1. Madden Bogenreef, freshman out of Moorhead, Minnesota. Rosie Anderson is a senior, also out of Moorhead. Now we'll see a change from Montana Tech. They'll go to Malia Harris, defensive specialist, to do the serving. Vikings come back to the right side. Frigian is blocked. She wants it back. They'll back set Rosie Anderson instead. It goes to the back row. Austin Long tried to dig it up, could not. That's a good sign for the Vikings. They twist their offense. Rosie Anderson, who's kind of a right side, goes out to the outside, and Montana Tech may have forgotten she was there. Frigian came to the right side, and they are obviously going to pay attention to Frigian quite a bit as the leader, but Rosie puts one away after the defense came the other way. And the Vikings are up by a score of 4-2 here in the first. J.C. Richter to serve for Valley City State. Back row, Austin Long, pass near the net, but playable, and getting through with some contact on the right side will be Peyton Treadwell. Treadwell trying the middle, apparently. Saw a block there and wasn't afraid to just tip through it. A tip or a push, you can go either way with it. Didn't really have a ball she felt like she could swing at, but Vikings got a touch on it, couldn't get there defensively. And the Viking lead is trimmed to 1 at 4-3 as we'll see Ellie Reinertsen step in. Lefty server that puts one in the net. The Vikings take a 5-3 advantage. Frigi and Delaney Clark will come back into the matchup. So the Vikings rotating through back into their original set. And Delaney Clark gets ready to serve for Valley City State. 5-3 on the LaRue-Lacko Financial scoreboard. Vikings with a 2-point lead. Clark serving. And again, it's Austin Long making the pass. Big try through the middle. That was stood up. Madison Beery getting a swing at it. The Vikings blocked it. It'll be sent back over by Kennedy Wilmore. Now in the middle, Frigi into the net. That's going to be 4 contacts against the Vikings. That was a big, big swing for Madison Beery. And Beery is one of the players that we kind of mentioned last night in the game with Montana Western. You've got a team that's built tall, that's one thing. When you have a team that's built tall and physically, that's another. And we just saw what Madison Beery can do on the physical side of things. She is a player with a lot of velocity up front. Play from Lucas, errantly dug by Emma Long. Actually, rather, Emma Green. Ellie Lucas gets onto the scoreboard as well. And the Vikings are back up 2 at 6-4. So a couple of players from the Pins that we talked about the Vikings wanting to produce have both come up with big plays early. Rosie Anderson and Ellie Lucas, and both from the outside. That's an important play for the Vikings. A tip across the net from Beery. Vikings handle. Emma Lucas was blocked. Gets it back on a free ball. And now it's Montana Tech's turn to play. They go to their outside, and J.C. Richter digs up Talon Dodson. Near the attack line, Lucas leaning into a play. saved by the Diggers, and another play coming from Dodson. A dive for the Vikings. It goes into the net. Big save off the net by Schumacher. Green running it down for Tech in the back row, and a block at the net. Emma Lucas teaming up with Morgan Freege to connect, and the Vikings will take a 7-4 lead. Take a look at that again. That's a long rally. Green went all the way back to the back line to save that play, and the Vikings were right there to swallow up the outside pin. And Valley City State makes it 7-4 here in the opening set. Another play by Talon Dodson. Touched the Vikings to it. Ellie Lucas through traffic. Green able to make a play. Back to Dodson on the outside again. This time pushes wide. The point will go to the Vikings, and it's 8-4. Montana Tech, the last couple of rallies, seems to have been rather singular-minded. It's been all Talon Dodson from the outside, and they haven't really distributed the volleyball anywhere else, at least at this point. 8-4 Vikings here in the opening set. 8-5 now is a service error by Gracie Schumacher. Sticks one back on the Viking side. Change coming up here for Montana Tech, as the Diggers will send Abby Clark back into the matchup, an original starter, and Emmy Green will go back to do the serving for the Diggers. Green serve on the way, passed errantly by Lucas. Long run to get to it that time for Ellie Lucas. Freege will send it over on a free ball save to the middle. Big bruising play right through for Abby Clark. Clark skying high to score to cut the lead to 2. Pass just didn't get the Vikings into their offense, and that gave an opportunity for the Diggers to run their offense cleanly. And you can see what Abby Clark can do if she gets up there. Clark, .464 hitter on the season. There's a reason for that. Freege attacking, that will score. Morgan Freege for the Vikings playing middle. Makes it 9-6, the Vikings back by 3. Abby Clark, grad student out of Fort Benton, Montana. And again, with a .464 hitting percentage, and everything just looked like a player with a lot of experience on that swing a moment ago. And we'll see the Vikings turning things over to Hannah Whelan to serve. And a block on the far side comes up errant, but the Vikings save one off the net with Friggen. It'll be tipped back by Emma Lucas. Green setting now for the Diggers. Back to Dodson. Hannah Whelan with a big dig out of the back row that floats it back over, and now a stop at the net by the Vikings, and Whelan saves another play. Friggen goes deep. Green is there, joust coming up. It stays on the Tech side. We'll have a whistle, and the Diggers are going to get a point on what will be ruled an illegal attack against the Vikings. Believe they're going to say on that play that the attempt to block on a ball had not yet crossed the plane, and that's a tough call. The officials are going to talk it over here. They're going to make a substitution for the Vikings. You can block a ball that's headed towards the net, and it does not have to be on your side of the net to block a ball. That's why that call is a bit peculiar. But it was early in the rally. It was before the third contact, and so with another player in the vicinity, Montana Tech may have had an opportunity to continue playing it. Vikings a tough pass here, but Freege will tip it over. Emma Green setting off towards the right side. A block from Freege on a play that was intended for Peyton Treadwell. Now a let getting through for Dodson. The Vikings still have it. Back set right side. Lucas down the sideline. Green was there to make a play. Back to Dodson on the outside. Through traffic, ball into the net after it couldn't be saved by Friggen. The point to the Diggers. Lead is 1 for Montana, rather for Valley City State at 9-8. Vikings lead the Diggers by 1, and Riss Layton, the original setter, will go back to serve. Serve is on the way. Macy Friggen trying to dig it up. Off to the right side. Emma Lucas getting through a contact and scoring. Make it 10-8. The Vikings back up by 2. And we'll see a couple of changes for Valley City State. Vikings will send Annika Pulju back into the back row. And Danielle Hagler finds her way back up front for the Vikings. 10-8, the Vikings by 2 here in the opening set at our LaRue-Laco Financial scoreboard. Green back setting Dodson. They move her to the right pin. Big dig by Gracie Schumacher. Tip over by Lucas, but tipped it wide. Point will go to Montana Tech on the error. Change will be made. Austin Long back into the back row for the Diggers. Kennedy Wilmore. 79 kills for Wilmore. 8 blocks on the season as well. Madison Beery, their top blocker, with 19. She's on the bench at this point. Serve coming over. Run down out of the back row by Pulju from the attack line. Friggen, good strike at it. Emma Green was able to reach out, keep that afloat. Near edge, Kennedy Wilmore And Pouliou runs it down for the Vikings. They go middle. Hagler mishitting. Error by Hagler, pushes it wide to the far sideline. And after 20 rallies, we're tied at 10. Even though the Vikings have enjoyed the lead here in the opening set, the pace has not been a pace that the Vikings typically enjoy. This has been more of a side-out, ground pound type of game. And this time the Vikings struggle with a pass out of the back row. Emma Lucas and Annika Pouliou tying up, both sending it off the surface. Receiving error for the Vikings, and that's going to make it a 11-10 lead for the Orediggers here in the opening set. Austin Long back to serve for Montana Tech. Long ready, serve into the net. That'll tie it up at 11. Pair of changes coming up for the Vikings. Rosie Anderson and Madden Bogenreef will both step onto the floor. Bogenreef will go to the back row to do the setting and the serving. And we'll see Rosie Anderson back in the front row where she picked up a kill earlier in the matchup. Bogenreef serving, taken back row by Austin Long for the Orediggers. Peyton Treadwell going deep on a play to the middle. Hagler having to tip, the ball was behind her. Up front, ball twisting back in for Kennedy Wilmore. Vikings back to the right side. Anderson tipping, that'll score. Rosie Anderson with a couple of big plays for the Vikings here this afternoon. They need it. Be the second kill for Rosie Anderson. One each for Fridgen, Hagler, Freegee, and Emma Lucas. Ellie Lucas with one as well. Serve on the way from Madden Bogenreef. They'll set middle and a block at the net that was covered immediately and sent back over for the Vikings, or to the Vikings rather. That may have been off a shoulder or a head of one of the Orediggers up front. Madison Beery will come in. Last night, we saw Montana Western kick a ball over on third contact, and it's one of those obscure rules in volleyball where you know it's there, but you hardly ever see it. I had never seen it. Service error by Montana Tech, and the Vikings go back up one at 13-12. But a kick of a volleyball kept a rally afloat last night for Western. The Vikings ended up winning the rally, but it was one of those plays where it's like, okay, that can happen too. J.C. Richter to serve for Valley City State. Short serve, taken back row by Wilmore and powering right through as Beery up front. Again, the physicality of a player like Madison Beery is the reason why she hits .338 and has 19 blocks on the year. And if you're the Vikings, trying to establish a block on Beery and try to play the side-out game is going to be really, really difficult. Orediggers will serve. Ellie Reinertson back in, second setter. Up front, Hagler attacking middle, that's down. Montana Tech has struggled defending the back row here in the opening set. It's been a really side-out type of pace to this one, and the Vikings usually like to play a little bit faster, but if you're side-out type of situation, you'll deal with it, obviously. Delaney Clark serving, taken by Austin Long, off to the near side. Wilmore a swing, that's touched, and it'll be a score for Montana Tech. The Vikings trying to establish a block, and they'll tip it wide to the surface on the block area. Enter Talon Dodson from Montana Tech. They have made a concerted effort to get her the ball when she's been in. She leads the team with 60 kills. The Vikings have been aware of her, and they've limited that damage so far today. Delaney Clark to pass. Morgan Freegee tipping middle and scoring. It's the second day of a road trip, obviously a long road trip for Montana Tech, and you've seen the defense just a step slow to the middle of the floor a couple of times tonight for the Orediggers. The Vikings have taken advantage with some tips. Usually, as the match goes on, some of that is recovered by the team that might be a step slow on the road. Off to the right, big attack. Delaney Clark comes up with a dig on Sophie Madsen's try. Ellie Lucas is blocked at the net. Big block up front for Madison Beery. The adrenaline flows a little bit after you get started, and then by the time you get end of first, second, you start to play about the same speed, but it's what happens at the end of a match when it comes down to the speed for the team on the road that sort of indicates where they're at. 15-15 tie on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, all even between the Vikings and Montana Tech. A free ball from Delaney Clark off the serve. Dodson from the outside scores and gives the Orediggers the lead. A 16-15 lead for Montana Tech here in the opening set. Emmy Green is the libero for the Orediggers, and she will step back to serve. with her team up 1 here in the first. Green serving, aggressive serve, too aggressive. That'll be long. Point will go to the Vikings on the error. And we'll see Hannah Whelan coming back into the matchup for Valley City State. Macy Frigin will return as well. Hannah had a big dig in her last rotation through. Was out a little bit against the Mayville State Comets. Serving and playing some back row. Whelan serves here, short serve, tipped back over the net, blocked up by Morgan Frigi on the return. Now back to the right, and Montana Tech will score with Sophie Madsen. A broken play all the way around. Whelan will step off the floor as Ellie Lucas takes her spot, and that will allow J.C. Richter to step into the matchup and resume her libero responsibilities. 17-16, Orediggers by 1. Madison Beery will step onto the floor for Montana Tech to serve. Serve to the far side, Frigin making the pass. Boy, a long run for Schumacher to get there. Frigi out on the right side. Taken up back row by Brooklyn Hayes. An attack blocked at the net for the Vikings. Frigin teaming up with Frigi to come up with a big block for the Vikings and tying up at 17. Once again, a block for the Vikings in the middle. You saw the long run to get there. Frigi's shot was pretty nice. They go to the middle, though, and there was a double team block there, and you could see on the end of that play that Montana Tech had all of their offensive players in the middle of the net. Here's a swing, and that one goes wide, coming from Abby Clark. The point will go to the Vikings. They take an 18-17 lead. When you look back on that play a moment ago from Tech, they really didn't show you anything on either edge of the floor, and the Vikings were more than comfortable to go double team block right there at the net. Serve on the way again, down, Annika Pulju with an ace. And we'll see what Montana Tech's Brian Solomon, the head coach, is thinking. He's going to call a timeout as the Vikings go up to later stages of the first. We have a timeout on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. It's the Vikings 19, the Orediggers 17. We're back with more in a moment on Viking Volleyball here on KOVC and on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. Stay with us. We'll come back with more in just a couple of moments.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right.
This week at Lever's Foods, all of your September favorites are on sale. Our family potato chips, 2 for $3.88. Tombstone pizzas, 2 for $7.88. Farm Rich appetizers, assorted varieties, $5.99 each. Jumbo cantaloupe, just $2.99 each. And Land of Frost deli shaved slice meats, only $1.79 a package. Deliveries available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Timeout taken by Montana Tech as the Vikings take a 19-17 lead in the opening set in our Frontier Conference matchup this afternoon. Dodson is blocked at the net. Danielle Hagler goes up with a big block for the Vikings. 20-17, the Vikings get to the 20 mark first and lead by 3. And a serve coming back from Annika Pulju for Valley City State. Towards the back row, taken up in the back by Ellie Reinhardtson. A play through the middle that will score for Montana Tech. I believe that's going to be Abby Clark. And the point will go to Montana Tech. That'll cut the lead to 2 at 20-18. The Vikings have both of their timeouts remaining here in the opening set. The Orediggers have used 1. Austin Long set to serve for Montana Tech. Ace. Annika Pulju trying to receive and pass. And that's a big play coming back for Montana Tech. The block out of the timeout puts you up 3. The Vikings have the lead cut to 2. Man, you want to side out, keep that 3-point edge. And that ace for Austin Long can redefine where we're at in the matchup. Long serving again. That one's long. Momentum back to the Vikings on a service error. The Vikings will bring Rosie Anderson and Madden Bogenreef into the matchup. The concern here, Macy Frigin garners so much attention by the defense. And on the next rotation, Frigin's in the back row, so the Vikings would love to get a block here, do something to score, and keep the momentum flowing so they can keep Frigin on the floor in this rotation. Up front, long attack, too long from Kennedy Wilmore. Point to the Vikings. An attack error by Wilmore makes it 22-19 Valley City State. This is a huge point right here. Can the Vikings get a play to go up 4 and give themselves some breathing room here in the opening set? Bogan Reef serving. Taken back row by Austin Long. Set up front, big attack, good score for Abby Clark. Clark just hanging in the air at that point. 5'11", but she plays taller than a lot of players that could be at 6 feet or better. Great vertical leap, long body. 22-20, lead cut to 2. And Montana Tech will serve. Crucial moment here for the Vikings. Still with Macy Frigin in the game. A joust at the net, and the Vikings are going to be in the net, I believe. Now we're going to see an illegal back row attack. The call will be an illegal back row attack. That was Madden Bogenreef that went up and tipped the ball, and your setter's in the back row. She goes up and elevates over the net. That's going to be a violation. Good call by the official. Bogenreef out to the right, and Rosie Anderson is stuffed by Madison Beery. Montana Tech turns things around. We're tied at 22, and now it's the Vikings that will call for timeout. 22 apiece on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard between the Vikings and the Ore Diggers here in the opening set. We're back with more coverage next on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and KOVC. Stay with us.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Poland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
22-22 in the opening set. Welcome back to Viking volleyball today on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, newsdakota.com, KOVC. Montana Tech serving, Malia Harris to serve, and she commits a service error. The Vikings up 1, 23-22. The Vikings had a 3-point lead. Montana Tech erased it with 3 in a row. And now it's a foot race at 23-22 with J.C. Richter going back to serve for Valley City State. Richter on the approach, jump serve too long, and now we'll play to the best of 2 in a row. Someone will have to win 2 rallies consecutively to pick up the victory in this set. Tied all the way around, wouldn't have it any other way, right? Ellie Reinertsen, the second setter, will come onto the floor for Montana Tech. Even at 23, Reinertsen's a lefty, and the serve on the way. Richter, tough pass, but Bogenreef got to it. Rosie Anderson, right pin blocked. J.C. Richter saves it. They set middle. Hagler attacking and scoring. Set point Vikings. Can the Vikings finish this off and take the lead over Montana Tech? 21st ranked team in the country in the arena here today. Delaney Clark will step back to serve. Need a block, need a dig. If the Vikings can grab set 1, Delaney Clark getting to it, aggressive serve in the middle. They set back to the near side. This one blocked wide. Point will go to Montana Tech. Kennedy Wilmore will get the kill. And it's back to the best of 2 in a row. Well, the crowd came to their feet for set point, and they're going to stand now until this one finishes. Brooklyn Hayes will step back to serve for Montana Tech. Serve on the way, back row, J.C. Richter got to it. Set middle, Freegee down on the back line. Morgan Freegee with a great swing for the Vikings. And the Vikings once again have a set point at 25-24. Gracie Schumacher into the matchup for Valley City State to set. And the lefty delivers on the far edge. This will be set back towards the near side again. Dodson is blocked at the net, and the Vikings will take home the set. Valley City State will grab the opening set and extra points this afternoon on a Morgan Freegee block. 26-24. Valley City State has a 1-0 lead as we move on to the second. We'll come back with some highlights from the first set today and get you ready for second set action next. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel, newsdakota.com, and the voice of the Vikings and the voice of the Valley, KOVC.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball. The Vikings take the first set of the matchup by a score of 26-24 and extra points over Montana Tech. They lead a set to none as we make our way to our intermission report, brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good at Rambo, your home for all of your promotional goods and your promotional attire. When it's time to put your logo to work for you, choose Rambo. Proud supporters of Viking athletics. Let's take a look at how things went. The Vikings didn't get a block going as well as they'd like to last night. Important to establish that tonight. They pick up a couple of big ones here in the opening set. You see a long run there by the libero to track down a play. Play went to the outside. The Vikings were ready. They come up with a combo block there. Frigid factoring in to that block for the Vikings. Another time around for Valley City State. This will be in the middle. Big block formed up there. And again, we saw Lucas coming up with part of that. And then towards the end, where the Vikings needed a point at 24 apiece, they go to Morgan Frege, who has been stellar all throughout the course of the week. Frege puts one down on the back line. The Vikings end up taking it by a score of 26-24, and they'll lead by a 1-0 margin as we get ready for the second set. Numbers from the first: Danielle Hagler, Morgan Frege, each with 3 kills. Hagler hitting 400, 2 for Rosie Anderson, and they were big ones in that opening set of play for Montana Tech. 3 kills for Talon Dodson, 4 each for Kennedy Wilmore and for Abby Clark. And a .429 hitting percentage for Kennedy Wilmore, who had a really, really nice start to the matchup. Only 2 blocks, though, in that opening set. They both came from Madison Beery. The blocking battle won by the Vikings in that first set today against Montana Tech. The Vikings will serve to start set 2, and it will be J.C. Richter that's set to do the serving for Valley City State. Emma Green out of the back row to make the play for the Ore Diggers, and a embarrassing attack by Kennedy Wilmore from the outside will make it 1-0 in favor of the Diggers. They go to Kennedy Wilmore, 79 kills, 337 on the season as a hitting percentage. If you have a critique from Montana Tech in that opening set, sometimes they got a little singularly oriented offensively. You could see where they were going. Emma Green with a service error. That'll tie it up at 1 apiece. The service error may have factored in a little bit more as well. They committed 7 service errors, did Tech, in the opening half. And that's probably uncharacteristic. Might be trying to speed things up with their serve today, but there was some success from Montana Western doing that last night. That might be something on the scout, if you know what I mean. Kennedy Wilmore with the play up front. Now it's Hagler that will score, and the Vikings take a 2-1 lead. Danielle Hagler continuing what has been a fantastic career for the Vikings. Had a chance to watch her play in a state tournament trip with the North Star Bearcats in high school. 31 kills in a regular season match against Grafton that was in Candu that went 3-2 that year. Right side of the floor, huge play down the sideline for Peyton Treadwell. That'll tie it up at 2. That match with Danielle Hagler where she had 31 kills, that was the COVID year. And when you went to Can-Do that night, you wouldn't have known that COVID was a thing in Can-Do. That was a packed house for a matchup that involved two teams that at the time were both ranked in the top 10 in North Dakota Class B volleyball. Back row, ball taken up off the right. Big play down the sideline. That is down for Emma Lucas. Emma Lucas gets into the act with a play down the sideline to make it 3-2 Vikings. And the Vikings will serve. We'll see the second setter, Madden Bogenreef, stepping into the matchup for Valley City State. Bogenreef taking one deep towards the far side. Set middle, Beery down. Again, just a physical play for Madison Beery. You get Beery a ball where she wants to swing at it, up above the net, you're going to have a really hard time defending that. That ball didn't clear the attack line by much. 3-3 your score here in the second set on the LaRue Locker Financial scoreboard. The Vikings won the opener in extra points. Brooklyn Hayes to serve for Montana Tech. Richter down to get it. Near side, little approach that time by Danielle Hagler. Set was offline. Tech with an opportunity. Dodson attacking. Dug up by J.C. Richter. Right side, Rosie Anderson tipping again and scoring. The Vikings have found something in the tip. They have gone after the middle of Montana Tech's defense today. And times Tech has been okay to get there, and at times it's been a little lethargic getting to the middle to cover those. 4-3. The Vikings by 1. Hannah Wieland back into the matchup to serve for the Vikings. And a serve taken up by Emma Green. Good pass. Set outside. Dodson over a touch. Covered back row by Pouliou. Rosie Anderson blocked, but Pouliou was there to retrieve. To the near side now. Lucas gets blocked. The Vikings can't cover that. Another play up front for Beery. Phrygian will come back into the matchup, only to allow for J.C. Richter, the libero, to step back in. Front row here for the Vikings, Hagler, Anderson, and Ellie Lucas. That's an interesting front row for the Vikings in that sequence. Serve on the way, and it's going to be an ace. That was in front of Annika Pouliou, and the Orediggers will take a lead by a score of 5-4. In this rotation, you have Phrygian and Frigi both on the sideline along with Emma Lucas, and through that, you might start to think about, okay, best option here, Hagler, maybe going to the middle, she'll score. Danielle Hagler comes up big, and that might be a rotation again. We talked about Ellie Lucas on the floor, Rosie Anderson on the floor. When we talked about our Vikings to watch tonight, you see them on the edges of your screen, and that's the rotation the Vikings are in, where they're looking to pick something additional up, and they're both on the floor at the same rotation. A lot of confidence from Michelle Mickeljohn, and they have produced throughout the course today. An attack error, Tech looking for a tip they won't get. Sophie Madsen sends it long, and the point will go to the Vikings. Sophie Madsen wasn't a starter, but a 5'10 redshirt freshman out of Great Falls, Montana. Very athletic build. She's going to be a good volleyball player in the future for the Orediggers. Dodson blocked at the net, but it gets through. Frigi got over to produce with Rosie Anderson on the double team, but that time Dodson able to power through it. And after 12 rallies here in the second set, nothing decided. We're tied at 6 on the LaRue Locker Financial scoreboard. Riss Layton will step back to serve for the Orediggers. Layton stands ready. Looper. J.C. Richter went to get it. Up front, Frigi attacking. Green got a piece of it. It stays alive, but a free ball puts it into the net, and Frigi ultimately gets the kill. Vikings take a 7-6 lead. Anderson off, and we'll see Emma Lucas step into the matchup. And Gracie Schumacher comes onto the floor for the Vikings with a 1-point Viking lead in the second. They lead it 1-0 in the matchup. In extra points, they won the opening set. Another play through a block. That time Dodson slips to the middle for Montana Tech and defeats a Viking block to tie it up at 7 apiece. So we reach that point in the matchup now where Montana Tech will start twisting Dodson around. She was almost exclusively an outside pin in the first set. Comes middle that time, gets the work. Austin Long will serve for the Orediggers. Schumacher setting to the right side. Lucas getting through a block, and it will score. That should be the fourth touch. It is. Didn't clear anyway. And after 15 rallies, it's a 1-point Viking lead. Again, not a pace that I would think favors Valley City State today, really, based on what we've seen from this group of athletes for a few years. They like to play with some speed and the ball going back over the net, but they've been comfortable, I guess, to side out today. They haven't had a lot of really long rallies in this one. Freegee attacking and scoring. Morgan Freegee just continues to produce for the Vikings. I felt like the Vikings were lucky to grab her out of Langdon area when they did. And Morgan Freegee here in her 4th year with Valley City State just waits and pounds it towards the back row and had a wide open lane to do it with. And she's been so good for Valley City State. Wilmore tipping back row. Schumacher dumps on second contact and scores. Gracie Schumacher will give the Vikings a 10-7 lead here in the second. And Valley City State beginning to build some momentum here in the middle of this second set. J.C. Richter stepping back to serve for the Vikings. Richter ready, serve lets off the net, Long stayed with it, made the play. They go up front and Abby Clark will put that away for Montana Tech. Well, you got a nice place to go when you've got a side out that you need. Clark 5'11", and that will allow for Madison Beery at 6'2" to enter. This obviously forms up the block more efficiently for Montana Tech when you've got Beery out there. There was a conversation happening on the far side of the floor as Fridgen gets blocked by Madison Beery. We had just mentioned it. Madison Beery steps in, comes up with a big block for Montana Tech. Head coach of the Ord Diggers, Brian Solomon, had gone over and tried to get the attention of our R2 today, but they decided to play through it. And another service error. Emma Green puts one to the net. That service error issue continues to hang around here for the Ord Diggers. They had them for 7 coming in. I think they've committed 2 more here. We might be behind on our live stats. I believe they're at 9. They're certainly at 8 for the match. It's a big number when you've lost the first set in extras. And right now it's a 2-point lead for the Vikings that will be won as Annika Puliu commits her own service error. And the Ord Diggers will go back to their bench again. You'll see Ellie Reinertsen step in. She'll go back row. And up front, Sophie Madsen. Reinertsen's a surprise, a setter at 5'11", and if you had designs on letting your setter go through the front row, she would be a player. That would be a place to try that with. Fridgen trying to attack middle. That's covered, back set to the right, and off of some contact to score for the recently entered Sophie Madsen up front. And that will tie things up at 11 each. Vikings and Ord Diggers even at 11 on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Here in the second set, the Vikings won the opener 26-24, and now the Ord Diggers will take a lead on a receiving error by J.C. Richter. Ellie Reinertsen serving it up. At 5'11", obviously, if you're back row, you can't attack no matter what your size is, but we've seen some college volleyball teams be successful running the 5'1" with that tall setter going through the front, and it works as a great decoy. The second contact is going to come to her, you get a pass, and she goes up, and instead of making a play to someone else, attacks a middle that hasn't formed up as of yet, trying to read where it's going to come from, and all those things coming together, you can have a nice weapon if you wanted to do that. Deep serve, too deep. Reagan Bogenreef trying to come up with a play. Actually, correction, Madden Bogenreef. I'm reaching back a year to Reagan. Madden Bogenreef ends up putting one long, and the Ord Diggers will take a 13-12 advantage. Midway point to the second set. Brooklyn Hayes to serve for the Ord Diggers. Serve towards the far side of the floor. Richter having to reach out to get to the stays on the attack line. Macy Fridgen will send it over up front, and getting through on a swing into the net was Madison Beery. That's some puck luck, if you will, for Montana Tech. Beery hit that ball poorly. That was below the net. She got it to do the flop and come on over, and the Vikings end up giving up the point. It's now 14-12. Montana Tech with the lead, and now it's the Vikings that have to start to get rather concerned about the momentum in the matchup. Hagler attacking middle. Covered out of the back row by Brooklyn Hayes. Comes back towards the right. Play from Sophie Madsen. Vikings cover. Fridgen attacking. Court wide. Missed it. 3-point lead, and that's going to force Michelle Micklejohn into a timeout. The Vikings will call for a stoppage as the Ord Diggers find some momentum to work with here in the second set. The Vikings lead it a set to none, 26-24 in the first, but it's the Ord Diggers leading 15-12 in the second. We're back with more in a couple of moments. This is Viking Volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and on KOVC, the voice of the Valley.
Looking for a quality, affordable education to get you the career you want? Strengthen your resume with a degree from Valley City State University. From education to business, fisheries and wildlife to software engineering, we have it all. Learn more about becoming a Viking today.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Welcome back to Viking Volleyball. The Vikings down 15-12 to the Montana Tech Ore Diggers here in the second set of our coverage this afternoon. Montana Tech serving, and a tough play for the Vikings that's going to put one into the net. See Madden Bogenreef called for a net violation. The lead is 4 at 16-12. The Vikings have had a struggle receiving serve here in the second set. And we'll see Brooklyn Hayes stepping back to serve for the Ore Diggers. Good hard flat serve. Richter able to make a pass of it. Up front, we see a block on Hegler's attempt. The Vikings keep it on their side. Back set, Phrygian trying to tip middle. A cover out of the back row for Tech. They'll work right side. Madsen, that's down on the back line. And the lead grows to 5 for the Ore Diggers. We mentioned back in the first, when you're on the road and the legs get a little dead, sometimes in the second, they start coming back to life. We saw Tech maybe a bit slow in the first. They're beginning to hit their spots here in the second. A reach out by Pouliou to make a pass. Phrygian trying to tip back row. Run down by Brooklyn Hayes. Talon Dodson from the outside. That'll be blocked up by J.C. Richter. Rosie Anderson will send it over on a free ball. Another reach to the middle this time, and Beery gets blocked. This is going to be into a joust, and Beery's able to out-joust her opponent. Up front, Danielle Hagler. Beery will make it a 6-point Ore Digger lead at 18-12. The physicality of a player comes into play when you get into those jousting situations, and Beery, plenty of size up front to make a powerful push on a ball. Another let serve, covered by Richter. Up front, Hagler attacking, that will score. The Vikings get a side out that they desperately needed. Lead cut to 5 at 18-13. Hannah Wieland will step onto the floor for Valley City State. She's been a regular player here throughout the afternoon. Hannah's paid her dues in this Viking volleyball program. Has a chance to serve. Local product out of Daisy, North Dakota. Back set right side, Madsen long. Point will go to the Vikings. Vikings back within 4 at 18-14. Hannah, one of the coaches in the South Central Selects volleyball program. They were honored on Wednesday night. They made a national tournament run with their 18U team this year. Whelan serving again. Green receiving for Tech. Dodson from the outside, and the whistle, the net contact again. This time it's Rosie Anderson that's in the net for the Vikings. Lead back to 5 for Montana Tech at 19-14. And this going on with Macy Phrygian in the back row, and Phrygian has had a slow day for Valley City State offensively. 1 kill on 11 tries here today for Macy Phrygian. And Montana Tech's done a nice job of defending her. The Vikings have done a nice job of producing outside. Hagler sending one back row, that will score. Tough contact for Ellie Reinertson, who had come up defensively, looking to adjust to the middle, and then reached out for a ball that was going to end up behind her. Ends up putting a couple of hands on it. No real good way to play that cleanly. Lead back to 4, 19-15. Vikings need one here. If you're going to change the direction and take the side out potential to win away from Montana Tech, you're going to have to dig in on these plays where you're serving and score. Dodson making the pass up front. They get it to Clark. Whistle, net contact this time against the Ore Diggers. And that will be Abby Clark. That rule in college volleyball is a unique rule to try to understand, as another serve comes in from Delaney Clark. Back set right side, Madsen blocked, but blocked errantly. Lead for the Diggers will go back to 4 at 20-16. You're told that at the college level, the net contact isn't called unless it produces an advantage. At the high school level, you call net no matter what. But at the college level, there's supposed to be a little bit of an opportunity to play through that. But the last couple of nights, we've seen net contact called right away, no matter the circumstance. J.C. Richter sending one over. Up front, big play by Clark again. Abby Clark comes up with a smash. And it's now 21-16 Diggers. And another timeout going to be taken by Valley City State as the Vikings are back down 5 here in the second. The Vikings lead the match a set to none, but they're down 21-16 in the second. We have a timeout for the Vikings, and we're back with more in moments on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and the voice of the Vikings, KOVC.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula, 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit proeyecarecenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Timeout taken by the Vikings. Crunch time here in the second. Vikings trailing 21-16 to Montana Tech. And Montana Tech serving down a set to none. J.C. Richter getting back to make a pass. Middle, Freegee tipping. Emma Green covered the middle. Back to Dodson, who gets off a touch. J.C. Richter covering for the Vikings. A dump up front by Bogenreef. This caught Montana Tech a bit off guard. They'll tip across. And the Vikings back in action. Here's Lucas blocked. Covers her own block off the elbow. Anderson from the right pin. Going court wide, covered by Brooklyn Hayes. Back up front, Clark. Dug up by Delaney Clark near the officiating stand. And they'll say J.C. Richter kept that inside the antenna on an awkward angle. We play on. Returned by the Diggers. Freegee gets through a block. A cover with her back to the net by Reese Layton. Now it's Dodson tipping middle. Delaney Clark covers that on the knees. Near side, a play by Ali Lucas. Brooklyn Hayes got to it. To the right pin. That one goes down for Peyton Treadwell and Montana Tech. Lengthy rally. Tech wins it 22-16 as both teams made some plays in a broken format. And now we'll see the emergence of a new player for Valley City State we saw last night. Molly Bjornaby, freshman out of Grafton, North Dakota, who was aggressive last night in the matchup against Montana Western. Will come in with the Vikings down 6. Anderson right pin, that one dug up and saved off the net by the Diggers. Another big swing by the Vikings that doesn't score. Bjornaby into the net, an error. Well, this starts to take on shades of what happened last night in the matchup with Western. That was a good swing by Rosie Anderson, but the Tech back row seems to have found a way, and it's now a 7-point lead for the Diggers. Another serve coming near side. Picked up back row by Bjornaby on the pass. Freegee gets blocked to the net. The Vikings still there. Bjornaby outside. Got through a touch. Hayes made the play. Back set right side. Treadwell puts that down on a bruising kill. Peyton Treadwell comes up with a kill. And it's now a 24-16 lead for the Diggers. And it is set point in the second for Montana Tech as they try to even the match in convincing fashion. We will see a service error that will hold it up for a moment. Change will be made as we'll see Gracie Schumacher come into the matchup for the Vikings. The original setter for Valley City State makes her way in. Vikings serving up front, big attack by Clark. A dive from Delaney Clark was able to cover, and a push across by Bjornaby. Now set to Dodson, through a block, that will score, and that will take care of the second set for Montana Tech. So Montana Tech comes back with a 25-17 win in the second set. They erased that loss in extra points in the first, and will
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
At CHI Mercy Health, we believe human kindness is at the root of all healing, providing care on a human level, courage when it's needed most, and a connection that's ever present among us all. Human kindness is meant to be shared. It puts a smile on someone's face and seeks to do the same for others. Take the time to nourish what's inside and watch your life flourish outside, because taking care of yourself is an act of human kindness. Just like human kindness, happiness can come from the most unexpected places. Whether it's from your friend, your dog, or a memory, embrace it and pass it on. CHI Mercy Health of Valley City.
Welcome back to our coverage of Viking volleyball. We'll need a moment to reset a standard for you folks, so we're going to take one more quick time out here. We apologize. We had a power issue that came up here, and so we'll have to take one more quick stoppage here, and then we'll come back with some highlights in just a moment. So hold on tight. We'll be back with more in a second.
Lever's Foods, best quality, best price. Lever's Foods, best service, they're nice. Lever's Foods, they make everything right.
This week at Lever's Foods, all of your September favorites are on sale. Our family potato chips, 2 for $3.88. Tombstone pizzas, 2 for $7.88. Farm Rich appetizers, assorted varieties, $5.99 each. Jumbo cantaloupe, just $2.99 each. And Land of Frost deli shave slice meats, only $1.79 a package. Deliveries available by calling 845-1732. Lever's Foods, Valley City.
Again, apologies for some technical issues that we had there for a couple of moments. Welcome back to Viking volleyball here today. The Vikings and Ore Diggers tied at a set apiece after Montana Tech wins the second in convincing fashion, 25-17. Look at some of the highlights from the second set as we complete our intermission report brought to you by Rambo. Saw a good play for Morgan Freege coming up with a block for Valley City State, actually a kill rather, for Morgan Freege getting her second set started. And that's when things were going well for Valley City State. But then after that, things kind of went towards Montana Tech. This is going to be Abby Clark, who became a factor in the middle of that matchup with a hammering play right down the middle. And then after that, it would be at the end of the matchup, Peyton Treadwell with really one of her best swings so far tonight, playing from that right side pin. That couldn't be handled late in the matchup, and that's where we see the Vikings losing some momentum to the Ore Diggers. And it's now a set apiece. And it would also appear that the Vikings have a lineup issue to start the third. And I wonder if the Vikings are going to have to use a substitution in order to correct their lineup. Bjornaby set to come into the matchup for the Vikings. I'm not sure where the lineup malfunction might have been, but our R2 caught the lineup situation immediately, and now we have to wait to decide how this is going to be resolved. They're going to work this out over at the table, but Bjornaby's at the substitution zone, waiting to come into the matchup, while Ellie Lucas is waiting to come off. The hitters on the floor right now are Emma Lucas, Macy Frigen, and Morgan Freege. And this may have been an error in the back row, not the front row. So they're waiting to work this out to see how this will take care of itself, and they'll allow the substitution. So Bjornaby will play for Lucas in the second set. And now the Vikings have 7 on the floor. Okay. I believe that was assistant coach Jaden Wilson that sent Bjornaby back on the floor, but that wasn't going to be the intention of the substitution. A back row error in that sequence. And now we're ready. Orediggers will serve. We are tied at a set apiece, and we'll move our way towards the third set here tonight. And the serve on the way, taken up out of the back row by J.C. Richter. Pushed over by Delaney Clark for the Vikings on a free ball. Montana Tech an opportunity. Clark gets blocked to the net. Vikings will take a 1-0 lead. Our video's frozen. Okay. Apologies, folks, for those of you that were on our web stream as well. We had a frozen video. Yeah, we did. We suffered a power bump here, and our apologies to you folks. For those of you that are with us on the web stream, we suffered a power bump of some kind here. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it caused an issue with our setup, and so we're having to kind of recover on the fly. For those of you on the radio side, a couple of moments of silence. Apologies for that. You might have thought that was okay. Kennedy Wilmore will score, and that will make it a 2-1 lead for Montana Tech. So Tech leading by a score of 2-1 here in the fourth set, or rather third set. It's a set apiece on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Emma Green stepping back to serve. And we've got a few more issues here that we're going to have to work out for those of you on the web stream at this point. So bear with us, if you will, while we try to make some connections. Again, we must have lost power with one of our pieces of equipment that's going to cause us all kinds of technical difficulty. And so we'll have to fix it up as we go along. And again, our apologies for all of that. But we'll work on trying to get that put together while we get more serving coming in from Valley City State, tied at 2. Play off the near side, and this will be Kennedy Wilmore taking care of an opportunity. So Kennedy Wilmore steps in, makes it 3-2. And we're just about back to green flag racing here when it comes down to what we need. An attack and a score for the Vikings coming from Viking Danielle Hagler. Hagler makes it 3-2 Vikings. I think that should get us just about set back up. Some engineering on the fly. Correction, 3-3. Valley City State, Montana Tech tied up at 3 apiece. Again, those of you on the radio side, apologies for hanging out with us on the video issues. An attack and a miss by Molly Bjornaby on the far side of the net. Bjornaby comes out early here in the third, and it's now 4-3 in favor of the Orediggers. So a 4-3 lead for Montana Tech here in the third. Tech leading by that 1-point margin after taking the second set, 25-17. Vikings trying to rebuild some momentum. Hagler attacking. Green goes down to dig up a ball right in the middle of the floor. Aggressive play. Swing from Talon Dodson, countered by the Vikings. And Rosie Anderson loops one to the back line. The Vikings will tie it up at 4. So the Vikings and the Orediggers tied up at 4 apiece. And we'll see a return to the matchup for Delaney Clark, defensive specialist for the Vikings. Clark standing ready. Serve towards the back row, picked up on the far edge by Brooklyn Hayes. She'll get it back. No correction, this will be Madsen. And Sophie Madsen swings through a block and scores for Montana Tech. Makes it 5-4 now in favor of the Orediggers here in the third. Again, this is a pace, and we've talked about it a couple of times today. It's not a favorable pace for the Vikings. They like to play a little bit more freely, a little bit more quickly, and it's been more of a side-out type of day today. Vikings have played with it at times. Here's a toss towards the back for Morgan Freege. Back to the right for Madsen. That'll be blocked wide. Oh, they're saying the Vikings didn't touch it, and that'll be the call. Morgan Freege looked up at the R1 and said, no touch, no touch. And they're going to say that that ball went into the net. Came off errantly, and the Vikings did not affect it. So we're tied at 5 as the Vikings get one back to even up this third set. But again, the tempo here just is one of those things where it leaves you wondering how this will develop as the teams trade blows, if you will. Talon Dodson into the antenna. Point's going to go to the Vikings. Dodson coming out to the outside for Montana Tech and put one into the antenna. And now the lead swings to the Vikings by 1 at 6-5 here in the third. Schumacher serving. Errant pass. That'll be a point for the Vikings. A receive error by Brooklyn Hayes. We mentioned Montana Tech's speed in the first set, maybe a little sluggish. We thought it would catch up as the match went on after a long road trip, right? You're on the back end of that. We'll see if they start to slow down a little bit here in the third. Dodson gets blocked. It's shoveled back into play. The Vikings with it, and the two-tempo dump. Gracie Schumacher up front making a nice adjustment to make it 8-5. Valley City State by 3. Ordigger head coach Brian Solomon kind of head down at that point and beginning to, I guess, evaluate some options here as Brooklyn Hayes comes up with a pass. Madsen on the right, up and over a block. Delaney Clark was there, middle. Freegee through contact, down for the Vikings. It's 9-5, Valley City State. Coach Solomon from Montana Tech with a long look to the floor. Nothing audible to the team at this point. Schumacher serving again. Back row, Brooklyn Hayes. They'll set near side, and Dodson was expecting approach to the net. She had to step back to the attack line. Lucas will fire and score. Emma Lucas comes up with a big play for the Vikings, and that will force the hand of Montana Tech. Timeout taken by the Ordiggers, and a frustrated Brian Solomon will address his team. 10-5, Valley City State in the third. It's a set apiece in the matchup on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have more Viking volleyball coming up next on the Voice of the Vikings and the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, and on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Timeout taken by the Vikings. We see Lucas getting involved for Valley City State. On the right side, a good sign for the Vikings. Block late getting there. Lucas coming over for a score. Valley City State takes a 10-5 lead here in the third. A tip. Vikings try to cover it into the net, cannot. And the tip up front for Montana Tech successful. They'll cut the lead to 4. You saw even on that play for Montana Tech that we took a look at, the block just a little late materializing. Some of the speed for Montana Tech slowing a bit. They make a rotation. We'll see if they can fire their way back in as Peyton Treadwell comes back on the floor in the front row for Valley City State. Here's a really tough pass for the Vikings. They save it. J.C. Richter able to get to it. But Tech an opportunity to run offense, and they go to Clark. Now it's Richter stepping in to make a big dig. Lucas tries to tip deep. Green was there. Back to Talon Dodson. Through a block. Bjornaby kept it afloat. Right side, Lucas again. Taken up back row by Brooklyn Hayes. Back set to the right. Richter trying to get in front of a ball. This is saved near the bench. Vikings can't get to it. Point will go to Tech. They'll cut the lead to 3. All started with a tough receive of serve by the Vikings. And you're going to need to be clean in that situation against this Ordigger team. They're going to come at you, the Ordiggers will, with some physical assets that can change the way things work down the stretch. And when you've got this moment to receive, have to receive cleanly. Richter setting up front for EG, blocked. Richter was able to get back to it. Right side, a tip by Bjornaby. Green went down to cover the middle there for Tech. Dodson trying to power through a block and does. And very quickly, Tech has cut the lead to 2. 10-8 Ordiggers. Back within 2 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. And Riss Layton will step back to serve again for Montana Tech. Set right side, Bjornaby getting through traffic. It's covered by Hayes. Back off to the right, a try by Treadwell. Valley City State able to rally to it. Bjornaby trying to go deep. Hayes kept it afloat, pushed near the middle. Clark again, broken play, and it's down. Abby Clark finding the middle and scoring, and now it's the Vikings that will have to call for timeout as the lead has been cut to 1. 10-9, Montana Tech with 4 in a row cuts the Viking lead to a single in the third. The match is set at a set apiece. We'll come back with more volleyball action for the Vikings next on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, and on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Well, we'll take a look while we have the opportunity at what is coming up for the Vikings in the future here. As plenty of action still to come for Valley City State after this week, but it was one of those things where when we got ready for this week, we just knew this was going to be a really busy week. Well, for those of you that are on our web stream, we've now had a power issue with our video feed. Now that's back in order. 10-9 your score, and now it's down again. Our apologies, folks, for those of you on the web stream situation. We'll try to get that. We have it fixed up for you now, and that'll be a kill off the far side for Peyton Treadwell. We've had some issues with the facilities throughout the course of the weekend, and one of those is that power is in a really, really tough spot where our videographer has to stand, and every once in a while they bump into the power situation, and so that causes an issue where we have a video feed that freezes up. 10 apiece. Hopefully that won't happen again. Reese Layton will step in to serve. Delaney Clark back to dig it up. Lucas on the right side is blocked. Covered by J.C. Richter, back set right side. A run at the net for another new player now for Valley City State as they've entered Eden Corrier. A tip across the net by Corrier off the right pin. Off towards the back, the attempt again, down on the far sideline for Peyton Treadwell. Eden Corrier, 5'10" junior out of Cavalier, North Dakota. Serve on the way. Riss Layton will serve with the lead 1 for Tech at 11-10. They've scored 6 in a row. A play on the near side, taken off the shoulder of Talon Dodson, and the Vikings will score on a block to tie it up at 11 apiece. Hannah Whelan will step back into the matchup. The Vikings playing a handful of new players in the front row. We saw Bjornaby last night. We see Corrier here tonight. 11 each, Valley City State. Montana Tech tied up, but that breaks a run of 6 in a row for Montana Tech. Whelan serving. Hayes went to go get it. Near side Treadwell through a touch rather. The Vikings trying to recover. Right side, the attack from Lucas. Hayes out of the back row. This will come back up to Treadwell again. Blocked by the Vikings. Tech able to cover. Near joust instead. Pushed across by Clark. This will come back to the right attack line. Lucas gets blocked at the net. A slide by Schumacher kept it afloat. Set goes right side. Frigid trying to tip through some traffic. Back off towards the right side now. Dodson getting through a touch and scoring. It has been a bit of a slow day for Macy Frigid as the Orediggers take an 11-10 lead in the matchup. We see the numbers coming out of this one. Macy Frigid, 2 kills in 12 tries this afternoon. The Vikings obviously looking for more there. Danielle Hagler leads the way with 8. Macy Frigid just has not had a great day as a serve goes into the net. We didn't have a chance to give you any of the numbers from the second sets. We can go through some of those numbers here as we get deeper into the third due to our issues that we had here in the broadcast booth. But for the Vikings, Danielle Hagler leading with 8 kills. Morgan Frigie with 6. Rosie Anderson with 4. And for Montana Tech at this point, 9 for Talon Dodson leads the way. Kennedy Wilmore gets another as she comes up with a kill. Peyton Treadwell with 8 kills, and Wilmore will now be at 8 after that swing. And Wilmore's hitting around 500 for the day. Also 7 kills on the floor for Abby Clark, and they've heated up in those situations as of late. 13-12, the Orediggers by 1 in the third, tied a set apiece. A tip towards the middle that time coming from Danielle Hagler. The Vikings trying to recover after a free ball comes across. Frigid blocked. That's covered behind her by Pouliou. Back to the right side, Lucas too strong. Point to the Orediggers makes it 14-12 Montana Tech. That door is just closed for Macy Fridgen right now. And they're not blocking her on a pin. They're following Macy Fridgen wherever she may venture. Emma Green to serve. It's deep but playable. Pouliou is there. Set to the middle. Going through on a tip is Hagler. It's covered. Green has to step in and save the play for Montana Tech. Set to Hagler. Tipping again. That one hits the antenna on the return for Kennedy Wilmore. The point to the Vikings. They're back within one at 14-13 on the side out. Rosie Anderson, Madden Bogenreef will come into the matchup. We go back to what we talked about in the pregame report with the Vikings to watch. Macy Fridgen really closed off today, and so it will be up to the Vikings on the other edges to try to come up with something as Wilmore hangs in the air and powers down another kill for Tech to make it 15-13. Fridgen going to do her thing. She's been trying throughout the day. The Vikings have set her. She hasn't been able to come up with a path to really be effective offensively because the Ore Diggers will go right after her. That's where you need Rosie Anderson, the Lucases, to step in and do something from those pins. And right now the Vikings hanging around. Fridgen right pin, sent back over on a free ball. J.C. Richter was there for the Vikings, and up front Hagler mishits one. Sent it wide. Lead to the Diggers is now 3 at 16-13 as they start to widen things out in the second set again. Ellie Reinertsen will go back to serve. Reinertsen serving, picked up front. Freegee tipping, finding room. Not Freegee, but Danielle Hagler. My apologies. Hagler scooping a tip across the net. And we'll see Eden Courier coming back into the matchup for Valley City State in the front row. Fridgen's position rotates to the back. And so Courier will step into the matchup. And the serve on the way for J.C. Richter. Hard, aggressive jump serve. It's an ace. Vikings get a badly needed ace. They're back within one at 16-15. J.C. Richter back to serve again for Valley City State. Richter standing ready. Could use another one of those aggressive serves here. Pass ends up going backwards. Green going to send it up front. Wilmore from the attack line. Richter put it back near the net in a free ball. Then it pops over on the Tech side. Green sends it over on second contact. Hagler trying to get through up front. Reinertsen went down to get it. Back up front, Wilmore around the block. She'll score it. Kennedy Wilmore pushes the lead back to 2 for the Ore Diggers at 17-15. And we'll see the Ore Diggers making some changes. Brooklyn Hayes has been rather good defensively today. We saw her really come on in the second set. Hayes with 13 digs on the day. She co-leads the team with Green, and Green is your libero. Vikings make a tough receive of serve. Courier saves one towards the middle of the floor. This stays with Green in the back row and sends over a really high free ball. Vikings ready. They'll run middle. Anderson tipping on a bit of a decoy. This is saved and sent to the back row where Hayes will split it over for Montana Tech. Courier from the outside into the net. I believe that would have been 4 contacts, if not a block. The lead for the Ore Diggers is back to 3 at 18-15. Crunch time now for the Vikings. They won the opening set in extra points, 26-24. But the Ore Diggers threatening to take control here in the third and looking for a 2-1 lead. Anderson through contact will score. Good play for Rosie Anderson. The Vikings get production from the right. Morgan Freegee back in as Delaney Clark will go to the back row to serve for the Vikings. 18-16. Viking lead, or Viking deficit rather, trimmed to 2. Hayes reaching over. Green coming back to the middle. Talon Dodson has to send over another free ball for the Vikings. Freegee going through traffic and scoring. Morgan Freegee has been just fantastic today. 18-17, a 1-point lead for the Ore Diggers, and the Ore Diggers will call for timeout. Morgan Freegee with another kill, and the Vikings are back within 1. It's 18-17, Ore Diggers by 1 here in the third. We're tied at a set apiece, and we have a timeout for Montana Tech. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel. We're back with more in a moment.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Holland can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy. Welcome back to the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. 18-17, Montana Tech's Orediggers lead the Vikings by 1 here in the third. It's a set apiece. The Orediggers won the second in rather convincing fashion. The Vikings won the first in extra points. And a big momentum piece of this matchup is coming up here in these next couple of moments. The Vikings will serve with Delaney Clark doing the serving. Vikings down 1. Hayes reaching in for a pass. It comes back to Talon Dodson from the outside. She'll connect. Dodson makes it 19-17. And a change will be made as we'll see Malia Harris come into the matchup for Montana Tech. Harris standing ready. Serve on the way towards the back row. Delaney Clark reaching out to make the pass. Bogenreef long run to get there. How about Eden Corrier coming up with a kill? Eden Corrier out of Cavalier, North Dakota, the former Tornado, comes up with a nice play for Valley City State from the outside. And the Vikings are back within 1 at 19-18. Gracie Schumacher stepping back to serve. Schumacher ready. Lefty aggressive serve on the way. Green made a very good pass of that. Clark pushing across the net. Dug up by Schumacher, and it's Lucas on the right side. A cover by Green, sent back up front. Dodson with an aggressive tip to the middle. Covered back to Corrier attacking middle. That's going to score again. Eden Corrier with a big play from the left wing, and we've got a tie matchup at 19 apiece on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Valley City State has tied it up, rallying from behind. Schumacher serving. Play back up to the front, and a block up front. Madsen goes right in to Morgan Freege for a huge block for the Vikings. And the Vikings will take the lead. My apologies, folks. Let's get you back to the game. 2019, Valley City State by 1. Schumacher serving. Green sends it back up the middle. Big swing by Clark, dug up out of the back row by Richter. Lucas getting off contact. Green was there again. This will be pushed back up front. Dodson going court wide for the winner. Richter was there. Freege again. Back through traffic. Freege scores again. Morgan Freege trying to put this team on her back right now for Valley City State. And the Vikings take a 21-19 lead here in the third set. Schumacher serving. Harris stepping back for it. Near side, through. Dodson will score. Talon Dodson will come up with the play. Makes it 21-20. Go back a moment ago. Morgan Freege again, just terminating a ball right there in the middle. 2 blockers there, and Freege able to move around it and score it. Vikings with a 1-point lead at 21-20. Reese Layton will step in to serve for Montana Tech. Vikings need a side out. Richter, good pass, set right side. Corrier having to tip. First play is Abby Clark, then it comes back to Dodson. She's touched at the net. This will be saved by Schumacher. Corrier again will score. Where did Eden Corrier come from? I'll tell you where she came from, Cavalier. And she has had a great run in this third set for Valley City State as the Vikings take a 22-20 advantage. And we'll see Hannah Whelan coming back in to serve for the Vikings. Green making the pass of it up front. Clark gets blocked but covers her own. The Vikings looking for a second contact ball. They're going to get it. The Viking crowd was looking for a double as that ball was contacted twice. Now on the block, that doesn't count as a double, but they're going to rule that 2 contacts. 23-20. The Vikings with a 3-point lead here in the third set, trying to rally. Whelan will serve, covered by Hayes out of the back row. This will be set back to the near side pin and terminated by Peyton Treadwell. 23-21. The Vikings lead is 2. Kennedy Wilmore comes back into the matchup for Montana Tech. And we'll see Austin Long serving. right here, if you want to continue the momentum, you want to side out. You want to give yourself 3 chances. You don't want this to get any closer if you're the Vikings. Big pass coming up here. Richter makes the play. Schumacher sets it off to Friedgen. She put it into the net. 23-22. Macy's had a big block thrown at her throughout the course of the day. She's probably thinking about a lot of options as she approaches the net in that sequence. Lead 1 for the Vikings at 23-22. Serve coming up again. Back row. Richter making the play. Schumacher has to keep it afloat. Friedgen could not. And it's back to even. 23 all, and the Vikings are going to call for timeout as again we'll go to the race to 2 in a row. So the first to 2 in a row wins the third. We're tied at 23. We're tied at a set apiece. More Viking volleyball is on the way next here on KOVC, the voice of the Vikings and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
When you're craving the taste of juicy, flavorful, locally sourced beef and pork, look no further than your locally owned Valley Meat Supply. At Valley Meat Supply, we take pride in bringing you the finest cuts of beef and pork straight from local producers. So whether you're planning a mouth-watering barbecue or a cozy family meal, choose Valley Meat Supply for the highest quality, locally grown beef, pork, and award-winning jerky, sticks, and sausage. Valley Meat Supply, West Main, Valley City. Your taste buds will thank you.
Timeout taken here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse by Valley City State. They led by 3 a couple of moments ago. Eden Courier getting into the act for the Vikings as they go a little bit further down their depth chart today. And what a swing or 2 or 3. Eden Courier had 3 kills, hitting .250. But the real story here, Macy Friedgen being held to negative .062 hitting right now. The Viking leader's been covered up pretty well by Montana Tech today. And Tech on the rally after falling behind. It's now 23 apiece, and the first to 2 in a row wins the third. Serve on the way, and Delaney Clark going down to make the pass. Schumacher sets right pin for 3G, blocked wide. Point to the Vikings. Wasn't sure if they would call that a block or 4 contacts. The Vikings get the call. It's a 1-point lead for Valley City State, and they have set point. The Vikings can erase that 25-17 loss in the second right here and take a 2-1 lead. Serve from Pouliou. Green is there up the middle. Clark too strong, and the Vikings will take home the third, 25-23. Another 2-point win for the Vikings today, but the Vikings will take a 2-1 advantage in the matchup as we make our way to the fourth. 2-1 lead for the Vikings as we go to our intermission report brought to you by Rambo. We're in the business of making you look good. A couple of highlights from that third set on the way next as we make our way into that intermission report. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on KOVC, the voice of the Valley, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Are you on the right financial path? Are all your financial professionals on the same page? At LaRue Laco Financial, you can be assured that your investment professional and tax professional are working together. Call Ryan LaRue or Chase Carpenter at 701-845-6938. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is Clint from Central Avenue Health Mart Pharmacy in beautiful downtown Valley City, your only locally owned pharmacy since 1989. When you're locally owned, you care about your community and your customers. We offer a great selection of gifts and toys, as well as yarns, fabrics, sewing, and crafting. We are here for you from 9 to 5:30 weekdays and Saturdays 9 to 1. For all your pharmaceutical needs, give us a call, 845-5280.
Health Mart, taking time to listen and care.
Orthopedic pain is limiting. It's unpredictable. And when it disrupts the way you move, it disrupts the way you live. Life is better when you feel empowered to move the way you want, when you want. And that's where our experts come in. We're your guides to orthopedic and sports medicine treatment options that can manage your pain, rehab your injuries, and restore your confidence. Take back the freedom to move. Explore your orthopedic options at Sanford Health.
Welcome back to Viking volleyball. The Vikings strike back with a 25-23 win in the third set on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard to even this up and then take the lead, 2-1. Set number 2 went to Montana Tech 25-17. The Vikings rally from a deficit in the third to come back to get the win. Couple of big reasons. Well, Morgan Freege, she was a big part of this all the way through for Valley City State. Freege making a couple of huge plays down the stretch. Here would be one waiting right in the middle of the floor. She gets through a block on one of her better swings of the night. And then later, the Ore Diggers again trying to find some room with the Vikings up one. Again, it's Freege attacking the middle. Morgan Freege's had an afternoon for Valley City State on a day when we've seen the top killer, Macy Fridgen, tied up with some block in front of her. Morgan Freege's come back with 9 kills. She had 10 against Mayville State back on Wednesday night. Hitting .471 this afternoon. She's made just 1 error in 17 swings. Freege also has 5 blocks this afternoon. And like we said back in that third set, trying to put the team on her back right now and will them to a win. So we'll go to the fourth. The Vikings leading 2-1. And Valley City State's J.C. Richter will step back to do the serving for the Vikings to start this fourth set. Richter ready, serve going deep, and that's too deep. Service error by the Vikings. You've seen both teams really aggressively serving today. They both have wanted to find any advantage they can off of the serve. 1-0 Ore Diggers, and Emmy Green will step into a serve for Montana Tech. Serve is a let serve. Delaney Clark sends it very near the net, but it's playable. Fridgen trying to get through. Emmy Green able to make a save of that. Reese Layton will send it over on a free ball. Back to the right side. Lucas is going to score. Emma Lucas getting into the act. That'll make it a 1-1 tie. Everything that you're going to get from the pins today for Valley City State that isn't Fridgen is going to be a really big advantage, because Macy's certainly been defended well today, and the Vikings will have to develop other options there. Lucas coming up as one of those, and it's a good one to go to. Anna Kapulyu serving for Valley City State. In the middle, big play going through for Madison Beery. Beery with 36 kills on the year, a .338 hitting percentage. One of the big factors for Beery this year has been her ability to block. She came in with 19 blocks today to get started, but Beery today, 5 blocks, 4 solos. Didn't really talk about that aspect to her game in that third set. 2-1 Diggers. And the serve is on the way from Montana Tech's Ellie Reinertsen. Up front, tip on the way coming in from Danielle Hegler. Back off to Wilmore. She'll get through a block and score. Kennedy Wilmore coming in with 79 kills. Had teamed up for 8 blocks up front as well. 3-1 Montana Tech here in the fourth. Reinertsen serving again. Serve on the way to the back row. A reach out for Anna Kapulyu to get to it. Lucas attacking. That one tipped. May have found the back line anyway, but tipped is the call. And the Vikings are back within 1 at 3-2. Rosie Anderson comes into the front row for Valley City State. And Madden Bogenreef will head to the back row. So the Vikings go to setter number 2. Bogenreef ready. A looping serve towards the middle. Handled by Austin Long. Up front, Beery blocked. Green reaches out to make a play. She's been phenomenal on some of these broken plays for Montana Tech today. J.C. Richter there. Tip up front. Too light that time for Danielle Hegler. Hegler's done a lot of tipping as of late, and you might want to see Danielle get back to doing the thing that she does, which is swinging and swinging really hard. We talked about the Vikings perhaps sensing something from Montana Tech's middle. They went after a lot of tips early. Tech responded in the second set by speeding up their defense a little bit. Here's a swing by Hegler. That'll get through. Danielle Hegler says, forget the tip. I'm going to take a hard swing at it, and scores. And the Vikings are back within 1 at 4-3. A 1-point lead for Montana Tech in the fourth on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. 2-1 lead for the Vikings in the matchup. They've won 2 sets by 2 points each. Serve coming in from Hannah Whelan back on the floor. Beery attacking. Whelan steps into the pass. Near side of the floor, Corrier ends up putting it in the net. Eden Corrier getting a run through that front row back in the third set, and she had 3 kills, and those were huge kills towards leading the Vikings into a comeback effort. Just that couple of moments forces Tech to defend you differently, and the Vikings want to establish it. 5-3 Ore Diggers after 8 rallies of the 4th. And we'll see a whistle, and the Vikings are going to be out of rotation. Overlap call coming up against the Vikings. 6-3, Ore Diggers go up by 3. Boy, you don't see that one in college volleyball very often. And right now they're discussing the back row here. Oh, okay, we're going to replay it. So it will not be a 6-3 lead for the Diggers. Brian Solomon, the head coach of Montana Tech, going to talk to the R2 about the overlap call. When you're trying to track that in as the R2 on the floor, there are a couple of cues that you're using to make sure that players are where they're supposed to be. And sometimes one can be a little off and you might be a rotation out. It looked like they were addressing the stance in the back row of Annika Pulju, but she said she was in the right spot. Courier gets tipped, that'll score. Eden Courier off of a touch at the net, and the deflection will go long. The Vikings will cut the lead back to 1 at 5-4. Courier's 4th kill today. Boy, that northeast part of North Dakota has done well for Valley City State. Danielle Hagler from Candu, Morgan Freege from Langdon area Edmore, Munich, and Eden Courier from Cavalier. I refereed some games that Freege played Courier in. Here's a block for the Vikings. Courier teaming up front with Morgan Freege. And a big block for Valley City State with those two teaming together. And it's tied at 5 after 10 rallies on the all-true scoreboard. 4th set action. Serve from Delaney Clark. Tech with it. Dodson gets off a touch up front. Now we've got net contact against the Vikings. They're going to get Rosie Anderson the net. The lead will go back to Montana Tech. Go back to that play. This is Eden Courier that teams up with Morgan Freege to take away the right pin from Montana Tech. Double team block there. Really solid play between, as we mentioned, a couple of competitors that back in high school were playing each other just a few miles down the road from one another. It's about 35 miles from Cavalier to Langdon. 6-5 your score, Montana Tech by 1. J.C. Richter making a play. Rosie Anderson getting through a touch up front. Montana Tech sets Dodson, and she'll power through a block to score. Lead for Tech back to 2 at 7-5. And Reese Layton will step into another serve for the Ore Diggers. Layton standing ready. Serve on the way. Line drive, let's serve. Courier makes the pass. Back set Anderson, right pin. Able to get through a touch up front. Green will send it over on second contact. Up the middle. Tipped that time by Freege. Now it's Tech coming back to their right pin. Learden sending it over. A pancake by Richter kept it afloat. Back to Dodson getting through a touch and scoring for Montana Tech. And the Diggers are back up 3 by a score of 8-5. You're in the 4th set. You're at the middle of it where you don't want the deficit to get too big. You can still claw yourself back, but down 3, bigger numbers here, and now we're going to see a whistle to legal contact against the Vikings. Oh, they're going to call it a back row attack. Michelle Micklejohn's not going to like that call. A timeout's going to be taken here by the Vikings. That was a save attempt by Madden Bogenreef that's going to be ruled a back row attack. And the Ore Diggers taking some control of the 4th. It's now 9-5 Montana Tech over Valley City State by 4 in the 4th set. Vikings leading 2-0. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball. We're back with more in a moment on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley KOVC, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Looking for a quality, affordable education to get you the career you want? Strengthen your resume with a degree from Valley City State University. From education to business, fisheries and wildlife to software engineering. We have it all. Learn more about becoming a Viking today.
Take a look at the night that, or the things rather, that the Vikings have coming up. I swear to you, we put that in the screen this time. I apologize for that. Tomorrow, baseball, Valley City State and the University of Minnesota Crookston. The baseball team was practicing earlier today up at Charlie Brown. Also tomorrow and the next day, We've got volleyball again. Golf, the Spartan Invite at Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Softball coming up on September 10th with the North Dakota State College of Science. And the volleyball team starts their week-long stay in Montana on September 12th at MSU Northern. They'll be at Providence the next night. Orediggers score out of the timeout, make it 10-5 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Valley City State looking for a side out. Courier off the touch will score. Eden Courier will make it 10-6, lead cut to 4. But the Vikings down 4, and you do not want to stay in this hole for too long or the set can start to slip away. The Orediggers more than happy to side out at this point. Gracie Schumacher will step in. Let's see if the Vikings can form up something up front. They'll set it to the far side, and the attack is wide that time coming from Peyton Treadwell. They went to a double middle that time, did Montana Tech, ran 2 players to the middle, trying to force the block to one side or the other with Morgan Freege up there at the front of the net, and the hit was just wide. Back off to Dodson. She is blocked by Lucas. Now this will be dumped on second contact. Richter returns it on a free ball for the Vikings. Back off to the right. Treadwell will score. Peyton Treadwell with another kill. Looking through the Viking numbers. 23 attempts for Hagler, 20 for Lucas. Freege with 17 for Frigen, but only 2 kills in 17 tries for Macy Frigen today. She has been isolated by Montana Tech, and the game plan for Tech there is interesting. Courier up front, she'll swing through a contact. Montana Tech gets it back. Wilmore trying to go to the back row. Swung by Delaney Clark. Now it's Lucas out to the right pin that will score. Courier once, then Lucas going to the right side. And it's 11-8. The Vikings get back to within 3. I mean, the game plan for Montana Tech would be, of course, you look at the numbers. You look at Macy Frigen, you say we have to isolate her. And the book out on whether or not it's going to be successful. The Vikings have hung in there, but they would love to see Macy Frigen produce here at some point. Wilmore gets through a block and scores. And it's now a 12-8 lead for Valley City State. Montana Tech number to this point. Talon Dodson with 15 kills, 12 for Kennedy Wilmore. Wilmore's hitting .550 this afternoon. Eden Green will serve for Montana Tech. Vikings setting near side. Frigen gets through on the outside pin. Macy Frigen with a kill. The Vikings are happy to see that. Macy Frigen defeats a block. Danielle Hagler will get back into the matchup up front for the Vikings. And Annika Pulju will go back to serve for Valley City State. Pulju standing ready. Towards the back, Austin Long was there to dig it up. Wilmore reaching out and finding room, and net contact going to be the call. They're going to have Emma Lucas in the net. And the lead will go back to 4 for Montana Tech at 13-9. So a net contact situation. Big swing anyway for Montana Tech. Ellie Reinertsen will step beyond the back line and serve for the Orediggers. Serve on the way. Lucas able to go back and get it. Schumacher up the middle. An attack by Hagler, blocked at the net by Madison Beery. And the lead is now a 14-9 Orediggers lead. Hagler going at Beery, but Beery at 6'2", a blocking machine. She had 19 blocks on the season coming into this one. Serve on the way once again from Reinertsen. Vikings to the near side. Frigen blocked again. Beery teaming up with Madsen. Lead is 6 at 15-9. And this one beginning to slip away from the Vikings in the 4th set. A big rally needed. Reinertsen ready to serve. Back row taken up by Annika Pulju. Set. Frigen trying to get around a block. It's sent back to her. She tries to terminate a free ball and again dug up front. Now a block goes wide. Kennedy Wilmore will get a kill. And the Vikings left to use another timeout as the lead for Tech balloons to 16-9 here in the 4th set. 7-point lead for Tech, with the Vikings up 2-1 on our LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. We have another timeout. We'll come back with more in a couple of moments. We invite you to stay with us. This is our coverage of Viking volleyball on the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel and on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC.
When your team, school, or business needs custom apparel or promotional products, Rambo is here to help. With over 40 years of industry-leading experience, state-of-the-art machines, and dedicated employees, we have the tools and facility to handle any job. With online ordering solutions for sports teams and businesses alike, you can count on us to get the job done correctly and on time. To get your next project started, contact Matt or visit us online at rambo.com.
Timeout taken by Valley City State as the lead for the Orediggers grows to 16-9. Montana Tech in the fourth set. The Vikings won the opening set 26-24, the third 25-23. The Orediggers won the second 25-17. And they're out to a 7-point lead here in the fourth. So Valley City State looking for an answer. Reinertson will serve. Reinertson stands ready for Tech and sends it over towards the middle. And Annika Pulio having to reach out to get to it. Tough pass. Friggin attacking. Another cover by Eden Green. Tipped by Kennedy Wilmore. The Vikings back to it. It'll be Lucas on the right side from the attack line, however. Tech there up front. Beery trying to tip through the middle. Covered by Schumacher. Now Friggin from the attack line is long. And the point will go to the Orediggers. Trying to go up and over that block for Friggin. But again, if you're over a big block at the net, it's tough to bring it in front of the back line. The lead is 8. 17-9 for the Orediggers. Reinertson ready again. In the middle, Annika Pulio going down to make the pass. Set near side, Friggin long. That time Macy Friggin had a window to work with, but hit it long. And it's 18-9. Montana Tech by 9 here in the fourth. Reinertson ready. Serve again. J.C. Richter is there. Tip over the middle by Schumacher. Covered up. Green back sets to Wilmore for Montana Tech. Vikings cover back to their right pin. Lucas attacking. Green got to it for the Orediggers. And Madsen going up and over a block. Vikings in the middle. Hagler trying to come near side. Scores it. Danielle Hagler gets around a block, and the Vikings get what they needed in a badly needed side out. Montana Tech, 18 digs today from Emmy Green. She's also received 19 times. She's had her hands on the ball a lot today, but Green has been a factor to keep Tech in it in the third and then here in the fourth to help them build up a play. She's made a lot of plays with that green shirt on today. Wilmore into the net, and that's 4 contacts. Lead cut to 7 at 18-11. Vikings back down 7 to Montana Tech, but back within a 7-point margin. Well, can you get 2 in a row, cut this to 5, and force Montana Tech to start thinking about things? Madden Bogenreef, and a bit of indecision by Austin Long receiving. Wilmore attacking, that's going to score. Boy, you got a broken play like that, and Kennedy Wilmore steps in and bails you out with that kind of swing. You feel pretty good about your chances in a lot of matches. Lead back to 8 for the Diggers at 19-11. Brooklyn Hayes will come back into the matchup and serve for Montana Tech. Hayes standing ready. Serve to the middle. J.C. Richter backing up on it. Back set right side, Friggin, but again long. And the lead is 9 for Montana Tech at 20-11. And Macy just kind of going through some struggles right now. The last couple of times she's had a chance to swing. The block maybe has been there, but she's had a chance to swing away. She'll get another here from the right pin. This time it is blocked, but blocked wide. Friggin will come with a kill. And the lead is trimmed to 8. Hannah Whelan's going to come into the matchup. Eden Courier will do so as well. 20-12. Vikings down 8. Leading 2-1 in the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard, and this one could be destined for the race to 15. Back set right side, Madsen through contact, and they're going to rule contact at a point. The Vikings, I don't believe, felt like they touched the ball. They celebrated as if the point was coming to them, but that in fact will not be the case. They will say the Vikings made contact with it. Lead 21-12 for the Orediggers here in the fourth. And Malia Harris will step into a serve for Montana Tech. Taken up right side by The same player that will kill, Danielle Hagler. Hagler passes, and Hagler puts one away. The Vikings back with an 8 at 21-13. Frege comes back into the matchup. You'd like to see the Vikings just speed up their tempo here and build on what they can to try to find the fifth set with the legs running. Delaney Clark sending it over. Hayes making the play. They'll work outside to Dodson. That's a tip to the middle that will score. Talon Dodson has that. I mean, you would say that it's been quiet. It can't be quiet when she's sitting at 16 kills, but you just have it. I mean, they fed her early in the first set, and the Vikings were able to turn her away, but Montana Tech has found a way to get Talon Dodson into the matchup. Just a freshman from San Antonio, Texas, and she has been a huge factor for the Ore Diggers. In the middle, Frege tipping towards the middle, and Emmy Green is there to dig it up. Back to Dodson through a touch. J.C. Richter steps in to cover. Corrier on the left side. The outside, covered by Hayes out of the back row. Riss Layton will send it over. Delaney Clark pushed one near the table. As a matter of fact, Bogenreef ends up in the table to set it. Vikings free ball it over. And a late reaction up front on a kill that will be credited for Kennedy Oman, a junior middle out of Slaterville, Utah. Oman coming into the matchup. And there again, you go to your bench and you've got a 6-foot junior that comes in to make a play. The lead is 10 for the Ore Diggers at 23-13. Delaney Clark runs it down. Near side, Corrier off another touch. Hayes was there. Dodson blocked. Emmy Green was able to cover it. They'll come back to the right side. A push coming in from Peyton Treadwell. Clark ran it down. Tipped by Corrier. That'll be covered by Dodson. Back to the right side. Treadwell going court wide and missing. Vikings back within 9. Gracie Schumacher set to come in. And we'll see Emma Lucas coming back into the matchup for Valley City State. Serve from Schumacher. Green back to get it. He's set to the far side. Dodson through a bunch of traffic. This one sent way up into the rafters and will take a hop off the support pole for the basket. And it's a 10-time match point situation. I should say rather set point situation for Montana Tech. Ore Diggers leading by 10, and at 24, they've got a chance to force the fifth tonight in a set that got away from the Vikings. Serve on the way by Austin Long. Delaney Clark there to get it. Free ball's over. Blocked back down up front by Oman. And a play on the near side by Lucas that gets blocked up front. And that will be the end of that set. And that's one that the Vikings want to wash the taste out quickly. 25-14. Montana Tech takes home the fourth. And the captains will get together to flip coins for the fifth. And we'll get ready for the race to 15 coming up next. We'll take a break and come back with the finish of this one in a moment. This is Viking Volleyball on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, and at NewsDakota.com, as well as the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
Why choose Professional Eye Care Centers? 3 great reasons are Dr. Bond, Dr. Freilich, and Dr. Jangula, 3 of the most educated professional optometrists you'll ever meet. Next is their many locations. You can now see one of their spectacular doctors in Jamestown, Valley City, Carrington, Edgeley, Ellendale, and Lemoore. And finally, their fantastic selection. And yes, all of their frames and lenses are backed up by warranty. Visit ProEyeCareCenters.com and make an appointment today. Professional Eye Care Centers, clearly the best.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Hey college students, are you looking for a part-time job that works around your schedule, pays well, and gives you free money for college every year? McDonald's offers all of it. We can work around your schedule, and we give $2,500 scholarships to everyone who works for 3 months and averages 15 hours per week. That's 2 full shifts a week or 3 shifts of 5 hours. It's that easy. Let us help you become our next scholarship recipient. Come join our team. Text ND29 to 38000 to apply today.
Only fitting that after the start of the 4th consecutive day of athletic contests here at Valley City State. The last of those would go to something that would be considered overtime. It's the 5th set. Valley City State and Montana Tech will race to 15. The Vikings have won 2 hotly contested sets today, the first and the third, 26-24 and 25-23. Montana Tech dominated the second, 25-17, and the fourth, 25-14. Numbers as we go to the 5th. Talon Dotson, 17 kills. Kennedy Wilmore, 15. Peyton Treadwell, 10 to lead Montana Tech. For the Vikings, 13 kills for Danielle Hegler, 9 for Morgan Freege. Eden Corrier and Rosie Anderson with 5 each. And the storyline has been Macy Fridgen held to 4 kills with 7 errors and 25 swings. The Viking leader has had a struggle. Freege, 9 kills and 6 blocks this afternoon, and is hitting .444 for the Vikings. So, comes down to the 5th, and the Vikings will be serving to start set 5. So Valley City State will serve to start the 5th set. And we'll see the libero, J.C. Richter, back to get things started for the Vikings. Serve on the way, we're underway. Play out of the back row for Austin Long. Right side, Treadwell blocked up front. Fridgen getting into the act with Freege. First point goes to the Vikings. So the Vikings get a block to score out of the gate. Here to start the 5th set. J.C. Richter standing ready for the Vikings. And Richter serve, a hard serve to the middle. Austin Long again with a pass. They set outside. Wilmore gets blocked and covers. Green keeps it afloat. Treadwell will tip. Deep push. Emma Lucas will score. Headsy play for Emma Lucas to find the back row. And the first 2 rallies of the 5th will go to the Vikings. 2-0 Valley City State. And we'll see the serve coming in once again from J.C. Richter. This time it's Green on the pass. They'll work to the right side. Wilmore sending it across. Vikings try to save it. They cannot. Kennedy Wilmore with an aggressive tip that fooled the Viking defense. And the lead is trimmed to 1. Now, if you're the Vikings, you've got to find that side out potential. This is really where you're going to make your mark as a team that can defeat some of these bigger physical teams from Montana Tech. You're going to have to play perhaps bigger than you are, not taller, but bigger than you are, and find that opportunity to terminate and side out and defeat a block up front. Madison Beery is in the front row to start the 5th set for Montana Tech, and she is the blocking machine out there. Emmy Green will serve for Tech. Serve is deep. Pass from Delaney Clark. Fridgen through the block will score. Fridgen makes it 3-1. Vikings on top here in the 5th. The return of Danielle Hegler to the front row. Annika Pulju will step in. I'll tell you what, you take Macy Fridgen warming up in the 5th if you're a Viking fan. No matter what happened in the first 4, Macy Fridgen getting hot in the 5th would be just fine at this point. Annika Pulju set to serve for the Vikings. It's a service error. 5 rallies in on the LaRue Financial scoreboard. It's 3-2. A 1-point lead for Valley City State in the 5th set of the matchup. Ellie Reinertsen, freshman out of Gardner, Montana, steps onto the floor to serve for Montana Tech. Serve on the way, back row. Annika Pulju making the pass. Lucas, right side, tipping middle. Green was able to come up and cover. This goes back to the attack line. Wilmore tries to go deep and mishit it. Little broken play that time. The tip may not have scored, but it pulled the Montana Tech defense out of sorts and didn't give them a chance to run their offense. Vikings up 4-2. Madden Bogenreef will step back to serve for Valley City State. Bogenreef gets the go-ahead. Bit of a conversation with the scorer's table to get that going, and now Bogenreef sends one over. Wilmore passing up front, wants it back, gets it. Run down by J.C. Richter in the middle. Fridgen again, down, Macy Fridgen. Good to see Macy Fridgen finding a swing again, and that's going to force a timeout from Montana Tech. as the Vikings take a 3-point lead in the fifth. 5-2 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. It comes down to set 5. The Vikings have the lead at this point. We have a timeout. We'll take one as well here on the Voice of the Vikings, the Voice of the Valley, KOVC, and the VCSU Athletics YouTube channel.
We aren't meant to be still. And while you determine the direction you'll go, we're just here to help you along the way. So go. Go with experience. Go with teamwork. Go with neighbors. Go with integrity.
Timeout taken by Montana Tech as the Vikings come through with a couple of big kills from Macy Frigen to make it a 5-2 lead for Valley City State over the Ore Diggers in the 5th set of this matchup in the Frontier Conference. The Vikings will serve with Madden Bogenreef doing the serving. Vikings ready, Bogenreef ready. Pass goes back up towards the net. They're going to go to Beery, and she will score. Madison Beery getting into the act. And Madison Beery will cut the lead back to 2. The Frontier Conference wants to support the following corporate partners for their continued financial support: BSN Sports and Nike, Cooper Tire and Tire-Rama, the D.A. Davidson Companies, Irk Hotels, First Interstate Bank, Billings Clinic, and Logan Health. More on those partners in a moment. J.C. Richter, big pass. Hagler getting off the touch. Brooklyn Hayes, who served it, gets it back. Dodson through traffic, and the play by J.C. Richter into the seats, and the Ore Diggers are back within 1. Also being supported, McDonald's of Great Falls, Northwestern Energy, Pepsi and the Harrington Bottling Company, Snap Mobile, Winwan Technologies, and the Montana Army National Guard. Uncommon is calling. Lead is 5-4 for the Vikings over the Ore Diggers. Rosie Anderson will send one across. Hayes making a pass to the far side for Dodson, who was blocked errantly into a joust. Broken play all the way around. Tech comes back to tie it up. Also a reminder, don't forget to download the Frontier Conference app in partnership with Snap Mobile. The app is free to download. Search for FC Sports in the App Store on Apple or Google Play for Android. Back to even now in the 5th at 5 apiece after the Ore Digger timeout. Rosie Anderson will swing middle and score. The Vikings take a 6-5 lead. Hannah Whelan back on the floor. Eden Courier back in as well. Eden Courier has been a mainstay here after the second set for Valley City State. She has really been tremendous. Stepped into a great role to be active in a tough spot. Hannah Whelan, good hard serve. Emmy Green making the pass. It ends up with Dodson, who gets around a block and scores to tie it up at 6 apiece. That's a good play by an Ore Digger team backing up. Emmy Green able to make a pass that was a good pass on a very good serve, but you still have to get really good flow coming in from your setter at that point to make that work, and the freshman Ellie Reinertson steps in and does that. Back on will be Malia Harris to serve for the Ore Diggers. Back set, Rosie Anderson, right pin, pass near the net. That's going to go into the net, and a save by Montana Tech. Back to the net for Brooklyn Hayes. Right side, Courier blocked. Tries to cover her own, cannot, and the Ore Diggers will take the lead on Sophie Madsen's block of Eden Courier. Ore Diggers by 1, 7-6 in the 5th. The Vikings won the 1st and 3rd, each by 2 points. Tech was dominant in the 2nd and 4th to get to 2 wins. And we play on in the 5th. Serve on the way from Harris. J.C. Richter backing up with a pass. Hagler defeats a block and scores. Danielle Hagler with another play. And that will tie it up at 7 after 14 rallies of our 5th set. Hagler now with 14 kills, hitting .357 on the day, the leader for the Vikings. Montana Tech has had 20 kills today from Talon Dodson. She's hitting just under .300 for the day. And now we'll get ready after another conversation between our two and the scorer's table is Delaney Clark will serve. Serve comes back to the Vikings on a free ball. It's playable. They'll set Rosie Anderson from the attack line, goes deep and scores. Rosie Anderson way back on the attack line to hit. And the Vikings will take an 8-7 lead as the teams will switch. So the teams will switch sides. The Vikings leading by 1 at 8-7. And Valley City State will serve. And the serve will be from Delaney Clark. Gritty matchup against the 21st ranked team in the country in Montana Tech here for the Vikings at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse. Wrapping up a week where they played 3 times. Montana Tech on the road, lots of miles. The Vikings in their 3rd match in 4 days. Willpower now going to come in big here in the end of the 5th. Ball stays in the back row off the pass. It'll come up to Dodson. J.C. Richter was able to make a play. Courier blocked. Richter tried to cover, could not. Madsen will get the kill from Montana Tech. Or rather, it'll be a block, I should say, from Montana Tech. Sophie Madsen stepping in big again. Those are a couple of big plays for Sophie Madsen for Tech with Madison Beery on the bench. Tied at 8. And we'll see Reese Layton step in to do the serving for the Orediggers. Not a huge crowd this afternoon, another loud crowd this afternoon. That's the nice part about it. And Reese Layton will serve with J.C. Richter back to make the play. Up front, Freegee just hammers one down. Morgan Freegee. Here comes a big opportunity for the Vikings. It's 9-8 Valley City State. Can you get a block and get to 10? Can you make Montana Tech perhaps take that next time out? Gracie Schumacher steps back to serve for the Vikings. Schumacher's serve over. Reese Layton will set, comes to the outside. A block thrown in on Talon Dodson. She'll get it back, this time around a block. Delaney Clark made the play. Schumacher pushes deep. Back off towards the right. A tip coming that time from Peyton Treadwell. The Vikings with Courier having to tip way up in the air. A miss hit. Layton setting Dodson. She'll tip also. Schumacher covers. To the right, it's Lucas going deep. Green made the play. Layton will set to the right side for Treadwell through a block. Delaney Clark is there. Up front again, it's a big play for Morgan Freegee on the near sideline to make it 10-8 Vikings. Brian Solomon, the head coach of Montana Tech, over to the table. I believe he's asking if he's got a timeout remaining. That conversation going on. Timeout going to be taken by Montana Tech as Freegee finishes a play for the Vikings. We're in the 5th. It's 10-8 Valley City State on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard. Exciting finish on the way here at the Fieldhouse. We're back with more in a moment on Viking volleyball. Stay with us.
Grotberg Electric believes in quality first, taking pride in the work and standing behind every project they do. They bring together the power, technology, and experience to keep your business online. The success of Grotberg Electric depends on 3 major ideals: the quality of their products, the commitment to their customers, and most of all, their customer service. Call Grotberg Electric today at 845-3010 or visit them online, grotbergelectric.com.
Vikings lead the Orediggers 10-8 on the LaRue Laco Financial scoreboard here in the deciding set 5. Morgan Freegee, a pair of back-to-back kills, highlighting the Vikings getting out to this 2-point lead. And Montana Tech takes the timeout. I believe that was their last timeout. They have no timeouts remaining for the Diggers on the scoreboard. The Vikings have 2 left on the scoreboard, and again we have another long conversation going on between the R2 and the scorer's table as the timeout comes to a conclusion. And we're ready. The Vikings will serve. It'll be Gracie Schumacher back to serve for Valley City State. Schumacher's serve passed by Hayes. Stays in the back row. They'll move it up front. Dodson through contact. J.C. Richter, tremendous dig. Courier blocked at the net. That'll be a point going back to Montana Tech on the side out. Peyton Treadwell gets the block. Courier went right at it. Treadwell was there, and there was just no one back left for the Vikings in the back row to try to save that block. Vikings lead 10-9. Austin Long ready to serve for Montana Tech. Long ready, service error. Wow, that's a big play. 11-9, the Vikings by 2 here in the 5th. The service error has bothered both teams today. J.C. Richter will step back to serve for Valley City State. 2-point Viking lead in the 5th. Richter standing ready. And Richter will send it over. Emmy Green with a tough play of it in the back row. It'll stay on the attack line. Wilmore sends it over, free ball. Big opportunity for the Vikings. It's Freegene. She's blocked. Another block up front for Montana Tech. Kennedy Oman, junior out of Slaterville, Utah, who made her way onto the floor in the last set, comes up with a big block to turn the Vikings away. And now we're going to see a change as Madison Beery will come onto the floor to replace Kennedy Oman in that front row. Vikings need another side out. 11-10 your score. Emmy Green is in the back row to serve for Montana Tech. And the serve's an ace. The aggressive serving, that's why you stay with it if you're Montana Tech, and that's going to force a timeout from the Vikings. That's why you stay with the aggressive serving, even though the service error has bothered them. If you feel good about aggressive serving, you're going to stay with it and hope that it balances out at the end. And the gym falls nearly silent as we go to a timeout with the score at 11 apiece here in the 5th. Boy, oh boy, this has been a heck of a day. Well, we'll tell you again about what's coming up next for the Vikings going forward. Tomorrow it's baseball at the University of Minnesota Crookston for the Vikings, and that game will count as you can play, I believe it's 6 counters under NAI rules in the fall. Golf at the Spartan Invite tomorrow and Monday at Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Softball on the field against the State College of Science on the 10th, and then next week for the Viking volleyball team, they'll start a stay in Montana that will last a week. They'll play Friday and Saturday at Havre and at Great Falls against MSU Northern and Providence. And then they'll play the next week, Wednesday and Thursday, on the road as well. I believe they're going to Carroll and Rocky Mountain to finish up that road trip. 11-11. Tie matchup. Make a wish, right? If you're the Viking fans, make a wish right now. Need a side out. That's what you're wishing for. Emmy Green is back to serve for Montana Tech. Green ready. And it's Delaney Clark that comes up with a pass. Freegee in the middle, tipping towards the back row. Leighton handling on first contact. Wilmore getting through everybody. J.C. Richter was there. Back set, Lucas. That one will not score. A big save by Montana Tech. Frigen wants the ball, blocked. Richter covered it. It's on the attack line for Schumacher. We play on. Leighton setting right side. Dodson coming up with the play. The Vikings save it with Delaney Clark. Schumacher sends it over. Green is there, back outside, Wilmore. Delaney Clark, another dig. Second contact by Schumacher, kept afloat. And a big play by Madison Beery gives Montana Tech a 12-11 lead. One of the more spirited matches, or actually rallies of the night. The Vikings had to save a handful of broken opportunities, but now down one in the race to 15. Emmy Green back to serve for Montana Tech. Delaney Clark reaching out, stays in the back row. Richter sends it up, and it's Macy Frigen. This one tipped back across on second contact by the Orediggers. A swing by Lucas, covered up by Wilmore. Wilmore wants it back around traffic. A save by Frigen, but the Vikings can't get there. Orediggers 13-11. And now another timeout coming up for Valley City State. So the Vikings will call their final timeout, looking to turn away the Orediggers, who are now 2 points away from taking home a 5-set thriller here at the Fieldhouse. Next broadcast for those of you on the radio side, coming up on Tuesday. For those of you on KOVC, the Highlander volleyball team will be on the way to Kindred. It's going to be the opener of the season. Waited a while to get going in volleyball, but Kindred will host the Highlanders on Tuesday night. And on Thursday night, the Highlanders will be at home against Central Cass in volleyball. And on Friday, the Highlanders will make their way down to Lisbon to take on the Broncos in football. The Viking football team with the week off, they're in the bye week as of their win on Thursday night over Augsburg University. Their next matchup will be in La Grande, Oregon on Saturday, September 20th. Timeout taken by the Vikings over. Orediggers lead 13-11. The Vikings absolutely need a side out right now. Viking crowd coming to life as Emmy Green steps back to serve. Green serve on the way over. Richter makes the pass. Schumacher to the right pin for Frege. Dug up out of the back row once again, and we'll see Wilmore turn one across. Delaney Clark is there. Back set, Lucas, that one down on the near sideline. Lead cut to 1 at 13-12. The Vikings need a block. Danielle Hagler comes into the matchup for the Vikings up front. Annika Pulju will step back to serve for Valley City State. Pulju serve taken by Austin Long. Up the middle, Beery, covered by Schumacher. And Richter will try to set Frigen. She got blocked, but Frigen covered. Now it's Montana Tech. Green trying to make a set of it. Wilmore going towards the middle and scores. Kennedy Wilmore. Headsy play to the middle. It's match point for Montana Tech. Orediggers lead 14-12 here in the race to 15 in the fifth. And the Orediggers will send in Ellie Reinertsen, the freshman setter, as they look to finish it off against the Vikings this weekend. Crowd again coming to life. Need a big side out, need a big pass. Reinertsen ready. Serve on the way. Near side, Lucas sent it back near the net, almost a free ball. It's tipped back across by Frigen, then returned. An attack coming in from J.C. Richter, or correction, not Richter, and it's Wilmore that gets through a block and scores. It was Hagler on the final attack. Vikings could not come up with the play they needed. Montana Tech will come out of it with a 3-2 victory. The Orediggers will grab the win by a final score of 15-12 in the fifth, and your final score this afternoon will be the Orediggers 3, the Vikings 2, 24-26, 25-17, 23-25, 25-14, 15-12. We'll take a post-game break. We'll come back and wrap things up in a couple of moments, get you back into regular programming. We're over time for those of you that are on the radio side, so we've got to go quickly, and we'll do it coming up in a couple of moments. Do stay with us.
Sanford Health of Valley City is dedicated to transforming your healthcare experience and providing access to world-class healthcare right here in America's heartland. We're committed to improving the human condition at every stage of life through exceptional care, spiritual enhancement, innovation, and discovery. Schedule your appointment today at Sanford Health of Valley City by calling 701-845-6000 or self-schedule online at mysanfordchart.org. Sanford Health, here for all, here for good.
Experience the thrill, feel the passion, and join the excitement. Tickets on sale now at VCSUVikings.com.
Lang hard to the basket with a two-hand flush. He burst through it. He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Valley City State.
Here's the game-winning shot. Does it go? Yes, it does!
Nelson on the attack. Olin can't make the play. The Vikings sweep the Jimmy. Spirited matchup this afternoon here at the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse, but it will go to the Orediggers as the Vikings fall over the weekend to Montana Western and Montana Tech. Last night 3-1, tonight or this afternoon 3-2. Welcome back to Viking volleyball. Ryan Cunningham with you here this afternoon from the W.E. Osmond Fieldhouse, and the Vikings will fall to 3-5 on the overall campaign, or I should say, yes, in the overall campaign. We'll throw up the standings that we had coming into today, and you'll see now on your screen, for those of you on the video side, Montana Tech will improve to 2-0. They'll move to 6-2 in overall play. Valley City State will fall to 1-2 in the conference and will now be 3-5 inside conference play, as again, the win goes to Montana Tech today. 3 sets to do. Brief wrap up. We've got to get back to the radio side rather quickly as we extended our time that we had allotted for the match today due to a 5-set thriller. Why not, right? For the Vikings, Danielle Hagler, 14 kills, hits 357. Morgan Frege, 11 kills, hits 391. Frege had 6 blocks today as well. It was just a tough day for the Vikings in the spots where you would hope that they would get some big production. Macy Frigen was held to negative 032 hitting, 6 kills in 31 tries today. Did come through with 3 blocks today for Macy Frigen. Good to see her getting involved in the blocking game. 8 kills today for Emma Lucas and Rosie Anderson with 7. On the dig category, 26 for J.C. Richter this afternoon, 16 for Delaney Clark. They each made some big plays down the stretch. For Montana Tech this afternoon, 20 kills coming in from Talon Dodson, and 19 more coming today from Kennedy Wilmore, who really got hot down the stretch. And Wilmore hit 444 for the afternoon. 10 kills for Peyton Treadwell this afternoon. 23 kills today for Austin Long, who played very well defensively. She actually outdug the libero in the afternoon today, as the libero today for Montana Tech in the form of Emmy Green came up with 23. Did they have that number in the correct? Yeah, they did not. Okay, my apologies. Emmy Green did have 23. That's why I was looking around to see where that number was. I think it just changed on our screen. Emmy Green with 23 digs this afternoon to help lead the way. The blocking game, 7 of them for Madison Beery today. They all mattered. And 4 from Sophie Madsen, who really found fire a little bit later in the matchup today. It took all the depth that Montana Tech has to get the win, but they got the win today by a final score of 3-2. That'll do it for our coverage of Viking volleyball today. We thank all of you for joining us wherever you may have been today around the region taking it in. We'll see you again coming up in a couple of weeks on the Viking side. Next week on the Highlander side, this has been Viking volleyball.